Hello, hello. Welcome everyone, welcome. It's race day. Hello. Lots to talk about before the race even gets underway. How are you, everyone? How are you? We are live. I believe we are live. Everyone's very quiet in the chat at the moment. So happy about Malaysia having to fill in. Yes, it was set to be announced, and we have official confirmation now, don't we, of the Malaysia circuit. It's not the Malaysian Grand Prix. It's still the Bahrain Grand Prix, but it is set to host the Bahrain Grand Prix, the Sepang circuit in Malaysia. Why is it called the Bahrain Grand Prix still? Well, that is because the Bahrain circuit, or the Bahrain Fund, whoever it is that pays to host the Bahrain circuit, or Bahrain Grand Prix, is basically putting up all the funds still for this race to go ahead, but in Malaysia instead. So that is why the naming rights are still the Bahrain Grand Prix, and it's not the first time that a race has hosted a Grand Prix in a different country. Yeah, the Sepang race circuits in Malaysia. A brilliant race circuit. So, yeah, that's going to be an interesting one. That means now we're going to have 3 triple headers to end the season as it stands, because there is still Qatar and Abu Dhabi up in the air. We don't know what's going to happen with those. Highly likely that they're also going to be postponed, and it does seem like F1, the FIA and F1 are actively in discussions with other circuits to replace those at the end of the season. There's talk of Imola. I really hope Imola doesn't host a race at the end of the season. At least, I mean, if it hosts a race, at least not be the finale, because that would be a dire finale being at Imola. Do I think Lewis can still win today? I think he can, yeah. I think he really does have the car. I think at bare minimum he's going to finish on the podium, to be honest with you. The sticking point might be Piastri. How quick will Piastri be? He only got those updates put on the car yesterday. Didn't have enough time to put them on. Of course, got impeded by Lewis in his final lap, so we don't know how quick he could have gone in relation to his teammate. He has been a step behind his teammate this weekend and kind of this season. But I think Lewis is... I do think Lewis is the fastest driver here this weekend. Looking back at it last night, I don't know what was going through Ferrari's heads in sending both of their drivers out first. I just don't get that logic. I don't think Lewis or Charles understood it either. And that is a balls up by Ferrari, to be honest with you. That's not... Obviously, if they went out at the end, they probably wouldn't have got held for impeding anyone. Or less likely to. But it's more so the fact of that Lando definitely got better track conditions at the end of that session, as we have seen throughout this weekend. The later a session the deeper into a session that you go, the quicker your lap times become. And we saw that throughout all of qualifying yesterday. And I don't know why then Ferrari, who waited to be one of the last 2 teams out on the track in their first attempt in Q3, decided to go first out there when it came to their qualifying session. So, yeah, we'll see, but strategy is going to play an important role today. We will have a look at those strategy options shortly on the half-hour mark, once drivers have made their way round to their grid slots, of course, as we always like to do. Just make sure everything's all tickety-boo with their systems checked and that. Make sure there's no issues prior to the race. There are 2 penalties that have been taken today that I am definitely aware of. There might be a third. So, firstly, the most obvious one is Lewis Hamilton. He got a penalty, a free place grid penalty for impeding in the end. He starts 5th today. And then Kimi Antonelli also got a free place grid penalty for not slowing down enough through the yellows, which were caused by Max Verstappen going into a spin. So, yeah, they deemed that he didn't slow down enough, and Kimi starts from 7th today. That means that Oscar Piastri moves up into P3, and Max Verstappen moves up into P4. So, yeah, going to be an interesting start. Lewis Hamilton and Kimi Antonelli both start on the clean side of the racetrack. So, the inside... Is it the inside line? I think it's the inside line is second place. So the inside line is the dirtier side, and we saw that last year. And it is a trend at Hungary. If you start on the inside line, you actually are more likely to lose positions because the level of grip off the line is not as not as sufficient as that on the outside. We saw that most notably last year, and I presume we're going to see it this year as well. Good morning, everyone. Hope you're well. Morning, afternoon for me here in the UK. Evening for some of you in the other side of the world, on the eastern region of the world. And, of course, for those of you who are on the other side of the pond, it is lovely in the morning for you. So, yeah, looking forward to today. I think this is going to be a really, really interesting race. The level of performance is really close, I think, between McLaren and Ferrari. But I think Ferrari do have that edge. And I do think Lewis has the pace. He has an extra set of softs to use today as well, which could be essential. We'll see how he's going to utilise those. I do think we will see them. Of course, we'll have a look at strategy and see what is going to be utilised. But we will wait for that. But the third penalty that I thought might have been taken, and I still think we're waiting confirmation on it, is George Russell. George Russell has had to take a new power unit, but it's within his allocation because it is a power unit that has already been used. However, I did see somewhere that there might be a crack in that engine. It's not quite right, and I think the FIA were looking into it as to whether they may have to use an engine that's outside the allocation. So, yeah, George Russell could be receiving a penalty. I haven't heard anything since on that, but I will keep you guys informed, of course, and we will know once they line up whether anyone will be taking a penalty or not. I think it was a crack in the engine. I think it was a crack. So you are able to swap out parts, engine parts, if there is a failure, Taco. You have to justify it to the FIA. They did change those rules in particular, but you're not able to... similarly to like if you have a crash, but you can't obviously change rear wings and things like that for setup reasons. So I'm trying to see, where is it? George Russell. I'm trying to find out exactly what it was. So Mercedes confirmed the power unit change for Russell, moving to his 4th of the season, but not exceeding limits. It is the same specification of PU he used in qualifying. It means no grid penalty. But there was something else maybe about that is it. Yeah, I think they were being investigated, but I think it might have been squashed now. Might have been squashed. Can I show you the tyre strategy? You're going to have to wait for the tyre strategies. We'll get there. We'll get there. Don't worry. Does someone have a penalty? Who and what is the impact at the starting grid? Well, we'll have a look at that in just a moment. But yeah, the two notable penalties that I am only aware of is Kimi Antonelli has been demoted to 7th and Lewis Hamilton has been demoted to 5th. Lewis Hamilton winning today will make the championship more exciting and more talks throughout the summer break. It will. It would definitely make it interesting. But, of course, he still has a lot to do. So, look, here is your current starting grid for today. This has been updated. And you can see there that Piastri now starts 3rd. Verstappen starts 4th. Hamilton starts 5th. And Antonelli starts 7th. So those are the changes there. Antonelli got a free place grid penalty, as did Lewis Hamilton. Oscar Piastri, who didn't really set even a decent enough lap time, has moved up 2 places for not doing anything. George is being overlooked at Merck. Kimi is getting all the attention. I do think that as well. Yeah, I do think he's... I do think you can quite evidently see that Kimi is the chosen one. He is the one that, yeah, that Toto definitely adores right now. Right, let's have a look at the championship standings, shall we, at the moment, because this is, of course, important. And this is how they set up heading into the race today. Kimi Antonelli on 204 points. That is 47 points ahead of Lewis Hamilton, I think that is. 47 points, if my maths is correct. No, 45 points. 45 points ahead of Lewis Hamilton in P2 there. George Russell on 154. So that is 50 points back, George Russell. So he's 2 race wins now behind Kimi Antonelli. Leclerc is on 126. Could Leclerc be pushing for a charge? I said yesterday, it'd be typical, wouldn't it? But really, I don't think Leclerc has been the fastest Ferrari driver the last 3 races. But the results... You don't necessarily need to be the fastest driver because he has picked up the results. He won in Silverstone. He made the right setup choice. Then in Spa, yeah, found very fortunate to get away with a penalty, of course, which the stewards then have announced recently over the course this weekend that he should have received one. Picked up a P2 there, while Lewis, we know how messy that race was for him. And then this weekend, well, I think he quite comfortably has been the second fastest driver, but he finds himself lining up in P2 today on the front row, and Lewis is down in P5. So he could very well end up winning today, 2 races in 3, and only finishing second as his worst result in the last 3 races, and then he's kind of bringing himself back into it. But this is all dependent, of course, on where Kimi Antonelli finishes today, as he starts 7th. But welcome, everyone. Hope you're good. Malaysia is back. Yet, breaking news today, but Malaysia is back on the calendar for this season in replacement of the... race was it again? No, not in replacement. It is going to host the Bahrain Grand Prix, but in replacement of the Bahrain circuit. You wonder why the FIA... You wonder why the FIA is against Lewis at this current point. Well, to be honest, the only penalty I don't agree with is... The only penalty I don't agree with Lewis in the last 3 races has been the one at Spa. This one, yesterday, slam dunk. He impeded. Whether it was his fault or not, he impeded. Then the one in Silverstone that he got for the slight creeping, although he stopped, they did change the rule on that after Lando Norris, if you remember, in Saudi, I think it was last year or the year before, where he crept forward and he didn't get a penalty for it. And then people said, well, how's that not a penalty? Any sort of movement before the lights, even if you're still within your grid spot, should be a penalty. And those are the rules now. So, yeah, that's the only... And I think with that one, is it technically a jump start? No, I think... I don't know. You have to. I guess you could kind of take it on a case-by-case basis as to whether are they rolling while the lights are while the lights are still on. Then yes, that's a penalty. You could say, well, if they jumped but stopped in time and they're still within their grid slot and they're actually stationary by the time the lights go out, then it's not a penalty. But why are you so loud every single time I'm talking? You see? Well, you're having your hands wiped. Hands clean. What's that? But yeah, I think really it's only Spa is the penalty if it wasn't deserved. Lando hate is crazy within an hour after Lando got pole. He saw people saying only he because he had the fast car. Oh, yeah, whatever. If anything, this track is more dependent. Yes, you still need the car underneath you, of course you do, but this track is probably the most driver-specific track of the season, where it's all about the car. It's not all about the driver, more so than the car, because there's no real emphasis on energy recovery. She isn't happy about the penalty either. No. But yeah, look, there have been some dubious decisions in times gone by for Lewis Hamilton. He is treated differently than other drivers because of his status. There's been instances where he has been, even in the description, they have given him a penalty because of even mentioning that because he is a multiple world champion, he should be setting an example, etc. So that shows there that he is held to a different standard, whether rightly or wrongly. Charles's Cookby is starting on the dirty side. Well, this is it today, Path. This is it. This is going to be very intriguing today. On the inside line, if you can go back through for like the last 10 races. I think I did this last year as well. I went back and looked at the inside line. So those who are starting on the dirtier side of the racetrack. So the even numbered positions. So 2nd, 4th, 6th, 8th. So you're looking at Leclerc, Verstappen, Russell, Hadjar, Hulkenberg, Gasly, Bortoletto, Alonso even. All of those last year, in the last, I think I looked back at it like six, 7 races, as far back as I could go on the TV, on the F1 highlights. And they all lost, I think only one person was actually able to make up positions. Second place isn't a good place to start. So really, this could be a blessing, even though he's starting in P5, it could be a blessing in disguise for the likes of Lewis Hamilton and Kimi Antonelli, because they are starting now on the cleaner side of the racetrack rather than the dirty side. Can Hulk score a point today? I think he can, but it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. I think looking at the Alpine's pace this weekend, they haven't been quick at all. I would expect today's battle really to be between Lindblad, Hulkenberg and Lawson, and probably Bortoletto. I think Bortoletto will make quick work of the Alpines, to be fair. He's on a good run of form. It seems to be between the 2 V-Carbs and the 2 Audis today for those last point scoring positions. Of course, we have seen reliability issues. It is currently 50-degree track temperature out there, as you can see. The air temperature is hotter than it has been all weekend. It's predicted to be 30+ degrees today. That's going to hurt these brakes. The brakes get very hot round here. We could see some brake failures. We could see some drivers pulling out of the slipstream to try and cool those brakes. And of course, the engines as well. We know that some teams have had issues when it comes to overheating, Mercedes. So that's something to be wary of today as well. So I think we will see a retirement of some sort, I think, from one of the top 4 teams. October is monsoon rain season in Kuala Lumpur. Interesting race for sure in Malaysia. Do you know what? I think that's the only way we're going to be guaranteed a wet race this year. We might have to wait until the way the weather's pattern has gone this year with all of the circuits. We're going to have to go into monsoon season to be able to be ensured we actually get a wet race. Because I don't think we're getting one today. Not that I think we need one today, because we will have a look at the tyre strategies in 10 minutes' time. We're just going to wait for drivers to make their way round to their grid slots. They'll be leaving any moment now to make their way round to their starting positions. Of course, we have seen moments here at this circuit. If you remember, Max Verstappen going off into the barrier and breaking his front wing. So we have years gone by. So yeah, there have been moments here. Track temps are high, yes, over 50 degrees. So that is going to lend itself, most probably, I think a one-stop will be tricky. It's doable, but it will be tricky. And this is the beauty of this circuit, is that it is right in that sweet spot of you can make a one-stop work, but you can also make an aggressive 2-stop work. What do you go for? And it really provides some intrigue. And it's not going to be like last year as well. Last year, the previous years we've been coming here, this circuit hasn't provided a lot of overtaking because it was so hard to follow with the ground effect era cars. They were displacing so much dirty air and they were so planted for the corners that there was no opportunity to make an overtake on the car ahead of you unless you had a significant tyre delta, like you had over a 1 second advantage on your tyres. That's not the case here, especially this weekend, as we've seen. This track surface has been newly relayed, half of it, so that's playing a factor as well. It's a little bit more slippy. We've seen drivers really struggling and getting the car sideways, as these cars are designed to be. They're designed to be less planted for the corners, quicker in a straight line, of course. And that is going to provide overtaking opportunities here today. So I don't think it is going to be a case of drivers finding themselves stuck behind a car ahead of them. Of course, tyres are still going to play an interesting part. The F2 tyres looked absolutely cooked earlier, did they, Mike? Yeah, does not surprise me. So we have drivers leaving the pit lane. They are making their way around to their grid slots now for their reconnaissance laps. So we'll see if anything is needs to be taken note of here. And once they've completed this, guys, we'll be diving into the strategy options for today. Right. Get your votes in, by the way, guys. Get your votes in. Who do you think is going to win the race today? I did still stick with the 4 choices of Norris, Leclerc, Antonelli, and Hamilton, because with respect to Piastri, Verstappen, and Russell, I don't think... I mean, I think, to be fair, the only one I think who is a real unknown out of those 3 is Piastri. He does like it round here, but haven't really seen enough of him with those updates on the car that he only got added on yesterday. So he's still getting up to speed with them, whereas Lando's had the whole weekend. Verstappen, I think, look, he's fortunate to be in 4th because of where he actually qualified. He's been promoted a few positions up because of the penalties of Hamilton and Antonelli, and his car is starting on the dirtier side of the racetrack. His car is very unstable in the corners. I mean, we saw him lose control of the car yesterday, making more complaints about that rear wing and the rear instability. And yeah, it's going to be a tough race for him to hold on to P4. And then Russell, well, yeah, we saw he's had engine issues again and just definitely not as comfortable in that car. And I think this will be the first time in quite some time that the 2 Mercedes drivers have lined up alongside each other, right? Norris is cool, calm, collected. George is all over the shop at the moment. I've seen more errors from Max this season than the last 5 combined. It's wild. Yep, that's the machinery underneath him. He's trying to get more out of the car. He's getting frustrated. And the car isn't just doing what he wants it to do. He's still been very good, though, with what he's been able to achieve in that car and get some of the results that he has. First since Canada. And also, we have not had the same podium. We've done 10 rounds now. This is round 11. And we have not had the same 3 drivers stand on the podium in 10 rounds. That's wild. So are we going to see that for the first time today? Or is that going to be completely different? Top 3 predictions. Well, I'm still sticking by my predictions, to be fair. I'd like to see Hamilton win because of the overall championship connotations. But I said, as it was qualifying yesterday before the penalties, Norris first, Hamilton second, Leclerc third. And I do think Hamilton is the quicker driver, and I do think with strategy today, I think he can beat Leclerc. I think he can beat Piastri. I think Norris is the one that I think if he leads out front, he's going to be tricky to try and deal with. These are just reconnaissance lap, guys. They are warm-up laps, making their way round to their grid slots. It's basically an opportunity for them to do systems checks, make sure everything's all in working order, and that they can get a brief glimpse and looking at the track state as well. This is the case in pretty much all motorsport, to be honest with you. And then they will go and do the grid. They'll be on the grid. The teams will be getting the cars in shape and ready. They'll do the national anthem, of course, and then they will jump in the cars, do the formation lap, and it will be lights out. Away we go. Rob, thank you, buddy. Much appreciated. Yeah, looking forward. Hopefully, we can hit 90,000 subscribers today. That'd be absolutely amazing. It's a tall order to do. We need, a lot of subscribers. But that'd be wonderful to head into the summer break with that milestone achieved. And then I can update that milestone. I can update that target to 100,000. Oh, that'd be something. I will have my driver ratings video coming out this evening as well. Plenty of time to get that up and posted, so there'll be no delay on that today. And then I do have some more content coming your way. I've got a vlog from the Goodwood Festival of Speed where I got up close and personal with some historic F1 cars and some really, really lovely sounding like supercars, hypercars. Took my mum there for the first time as well. And then I have one last part of my British Grand Prix vlog. But yeah, I'm still waiting to prove one. The YouTube award is in sight. Yes, the 100,000, the silver play button is yeah, not far away. Not far away. They go through the pit lane because they want to do more than one lap. So they go through the pit lane, the grid, the start-finish line, starting positions. They are preoccupied at the moment with teams waiting for them to come round, and you'll see them line up very shortly. My thoughts on Malaysia. So good that this circuit has returned. It's a brilliant race circuit. If you've never witnessed it, go back and watch some of the... I'm sure YouTube F1 right now is posting highlights of races and montages of the Malaysian Grand Prix. Go and watch them. It's a great race circuit. Malaysia paved the way for the addition of China. Like, that's... Actually, have I got that right? I feel like it did. I could be wrong there. Or maybe China paved the way for Sepang. Did it host? It hosted its first race in 1999, so it definitely paved the way for China. Yeah. Hosted the Malaysian Grand Prix from 1999 to 2017. It definitely paved the way for China. So yeah, like it's a great circuit. It is a real great circuit, and it provides a lot of intermittent weather as well. So yeah, one of my core memories of Sepang is in qualifying when literally the heavens were about to open. It was Q3 or the final qualifying session, however it was formatted back then, and everyone basically just all remaining cars just piled out of the pits, and they were basically sprinting around to get a dry lap in. There was no tyre prep or anything. It was literally just 100% out of the pits to try and get round before the monsoon arrived. And it did arrive as well. I think everyone was able to get a lap in. And yeah, then the monsoon came down, and it was... I think it might have been Q1, actually. It might have been Q1 or Q2, something like that. So I think Q3 was in the wet, but it was... Yeah, that was quite funny, quite like a cool moment to watch. Why did they stop racing after 2017? Always comes back down to money. Of course, always. Oscar pretends his radio doesn't work and avoid unnecessary pit stops. Yeah. Was it Q2? Yeah, I think it was Q2. Now I remember it. And then then Q3 was in wet conditions, but they had to wait. It was postponed for quite a while because it was a literal monsoon that came through. But Malaysia does have really good drainage because of that reason, because it experiences lots of monsoons. Will it become a full-time GP in the near future? I don't know. Probably not, to be honest with you. There'll obviously be a big call for it to be added back to the calendar, like it has been for many a year since it was removed. But it all comes back down to money, and I don't think they can afford to put the money up for it. But hopefully it is such a great race that there are calls for it to be added back to the calendar. But you need to stump up a whole host of cash. As I'm watching, by the way, talking about drivers going off, Ollie Bearman has made an excursion through turn 4. Lack of grip there. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. So we have had some drivers there already make some excursions. Ollie Bearman is one of the last drivers out there. Do I think Abu Dhabi will be replaced? It does seem like it, yes, because it's in that same region, where obviously the conflict, yeah, where the conflict is occurring at the moment. So I think Qatar, which has definitely been affected by it already, that conflict, and then you've got Abu Dhabi, which I don't know if it has been affected by it, but it's close enough to be affected by it. You know, you just don't want to put everyone's safety at risk. Like, it's the only time I'm ever going to touch on a geopolitical situation, but let's say the conflict is still ongoing, which it very well could be at that time of the year. You've got a very high-profile sporting event going on. It is a big fat target, and you just don't want that. That just puts everyone's safety at risk. So it would be more suitable to just cancel it and find a replacement. There'll be lots of super clipping in Malaysia. Yeah, that's true, but then China was also a good race, though. TV-wise, yes, super clipping, whatever. But if it's a wet weather race, then, which is a very high possibility it could be, then it doesn't really matter. And secondly, super clipping, yeah, look, it's not ideal. Of course it isn't, but we've still had pretty good wheel-to-wheel racing, haven't we? Right. That is it. All drivers have made their way round to their grid slots safely. So let's have a look at our strategy options for today. Let's bring this up for you all. Right, here we are. Strategy options for the Hungarian Grand Prix. And, well, it is definitely going to... I say definitely going to be. It's definitely going to be an interesting one. I was going to say it's definitely going to be a two-stop, but it's not necessarily going to be a two-stop. But on here, strategy number 1 is a two-stop, a medium compound tyre to the 2 hard compounds. The strategy number 2 is a one-stop medium to hards, which we have seen in years gone by. And then strategy number 3 is starting on the softs, going to the hards, then going to the medium. Strategy number 4 is medium, hard, soft. Strategy number 5 is soft, medium, medium. So there's a whole different host of strategy options presented by Pirelli today, and that is a good thing for us fans, because I think it means we're going to get quite a wide variety of strategies today. Clean air is king, as always, so we could see some undercuts here today to try and get some clean air and get some track position. The overcut doesn't always work, but it is a viable tactic where you do the overcut, you go longer and have quicker tyres at the end of the race, which has been a viable strategy here, but it's really intriguing. I think we'll see some drivers try and hold on to track position, while others around them maybe go for the more aggressive and more, shall we say, comfortable two-stop strategy, ensuring they've got more tyre life. And this is a circuit where drivers can lean on it a bit more and push more time, because there isn't an emphasis on the battery recovery here, lift and coast and so forth. It is more so about the driver's ability and just pushing the extremities of their cars. So I think, I mean, it's going to be intriguing. This soft compound this strategy here, so number 3 and number 4. If you're a Lewis Hamilton fan, these are the 2 strategies you're probably looking at today, because he has a brand new set of tyres available for use today, which, let's have a look at those tyre allocations. Lewis Hamilton has 1 brand new set of softs to use. That is intriguing. Is he, on the cleaner side of the race circuit today, going to start on those softs and try and do an undercut? Try and gain some positions at the start of the race, be punchy, make up those positions, and then do an undercut? I think he's definitely going to have to try and do something in relation to strategy. Or does he save them to the end of the race and he ends up using them towards the end? Of course, there's always possibility of safety cars as well, so might not be worth saving it to the end of the race. I don't know, but I'd be very surprised if he doesn't utilise them. He only has a set of used mediums to use, as well as Charles Leclerc. Charles Leclerc only has a set of used mediums. No brand new mediums for either Ferrari pair, or for the Ferrari pair. They have 2 brand new sets of hards, though, so we'll see how that works out for them. Further down the field, Lawson has 2 brand new sets of softs to use, as he didn't make it into Q3, whereas Lindblad has none at all. Neither does Hulkenberg. How will that fare for them? And then, well, they're going to have to use that, really, the soft compound tyre, if they want to go and do a 2-stop. Limdad and Hulkenberg only have one brand new set of mediums and hards, so they don't have two brand new sets of hards. So they're either going to go for the 1-stop or they're going to go for the 2-stop and be forced into using a set of used soft compound tyres, where Liam has that opportunity to use the 2-stop if he wants, or the 1-stop. Bortoletto, similar position as well, except he only has one brand new set of softs. So going to be interesting in relation to strategy today up and down the field. Tyre degradation. Well, your degradation on the soft is quite a bit of a fall off, quite a gradual fall off here, which is nice to see. No one tyre is... This is how you should see the softs, to be honest with you. Add to the mediums and hards. A gradual fall off. 0.1 of a second, 0.11 seconds per lap. Then the medium 0.08, and then the hard is 0.06. So you're looking at... Yeah, 0.03 difference between the soft to medium per lap, and then the medium to hard is a little bit less, 0.02, which is why the 1-stop might be viable. Don't worry, guys, we are getting to the pit stop lost time. But proper degradation here, with the cars sliding around as well. It is thermal and physical degradation, as we've seen throughout this weekend. So I still think I'd be surprised to see a 1-stop here today, just with how high the track temps are. Track temps are currently 50 degrees, hotter than they have been all weekend. Air temperature as well, and with probably not a lift and coast, not a lot of lift and coast going on today, we are going to see, yes, drivers leaning on these tyres. So, pit stop lost time. This is what you guys have been interested in. It is 20.5 seconds. Not the fastest, but not 20.5 seconds is on the lower end of the range of pit stop lost times here, pit stop lengths. So that's why a 2-stop is viable here, 3 stops even sometimes. The safety car, pitting under the VSC and safety car. This is the gap you want to be keeping an eye out on. 9 seconds. 9-second advantage if you pit under the VSC or the safety car. And how vital has that been throughout this season? Getting it right, pitting at the right time of that under the safety car and VSC. So those are the gaps we are looking at today. 20.5 seconds for the average pit stop lost time. That's what the front runners will be looking at to pit into, and then from the cars behind. And the same thing with the safety car and the VSC is 11.5 seconds, so a 9-second advantage. Safety car has only been 13% of the time. We've had a low percentage of safety cars really here in the last 7 years, which is interesting. But I think there's a very high possibility we'll at least see a VSC. I think we'll see a safety car, to be honest with you. I think we will see someone. I think we will see someone go off, to be honest, today. You hope Hamilton doesn't get any more penalties in the race, given the corners and the Ferrari dominance in Sector 1, Sector 3. Can he be in a good position at the first lap? I think he can. Yeah, I think he can. I think Lewis could very well find himself in P3 at the end of the first lap. I think he could. If he starts on those softs and he goes aggressive, I think he could very well launch himself past Max and past... could he pass himself his own teammate? I don't know, but I think he could be very aggressive at the start on those softs. And look, there's room. There is room down into the first and couple of corners. So it's going to be interesting. You're predicting an Antonelli DNF. Oof. How do they calculate the percentages for the safety car? It's how many times they were brought out in the last 7 years. So whatever 13% is of... whatever 13% is of 7, then that's how many times it's been brought out in the last 7 years. So there we go. That is your expected strategies for today. I think we'll see a lot of drivers... Oh, it's going to be interesting today. Do we see anyone start on the hard compound? I think we might see someone start on the hard. I think those who are further down the field, I think they could start on the hard compound tyre, and they'll try and go long in this race. They'll try and go long. Hope maybe for a safety car. I'd be very surprised if someone doesn't try and goal hang with the temperatures that we've got. But I think most of them will start on the mediums, and we'll see maybe a couple start on the softs to try and be aggressive at the start of this race. Between Mercedes, Aston Martin and Cadillac, I can't see this race not having a VSC safety car. One of them will stop on track. I agree. Yeah, I agree as well. And Williams as well. Williams have been poor reliability recently. Max and Man will, of course, bring a safety car so he can't even turn a corner. Ooh, harsh, harsh. I don't know. I don't think it'd be that bad for Max. But I think it's going to be a struggle for him today. Hopefully Hulkenberg finishes in the points. Well, yeah, I'd like to think so. I'd like to think so. But get your votes in for who you think is going to win the Hungarian Grand Prix. Norris, 22%. Leclerc, 17%. Antonelli, 17%. And Hamilton, 44%. That is the current vote. So Hamilton could win this race from 5th place. I think there's an opportunity today because of how strong that Ferrari is and because strategy can play a factor. You don't want to think about how bad Williams currently are. It is sad. It is sad. I saw a meme of James Vowles, and it was, he's 007. 0 good cars. What was it? 0 good cars. 0 podiums or something. I can't remember what it was. And then the last one was like 7 apology tweets. Russell DNF, probably engine reliability issue. I mean, the way this weekend has gone for him, yeah, and probably. But there you go. Those are your strategy options. What will Lewis Hamilton do? He is the only driver in the top 10 who has a brand new set of softs to utilise today. Does he start on them? Does he end on them? I'd be very surprised if he doesn't use them at all. His strategy and his approach, really, the past few weekends has been... I think since Barcelona, he wants the more aggressive strategy. He wants to He wants to be the chaser. He doesn't want to just eke out a one stop. Of course, I'm sure if the situation presented it himself, he could do that and wants to do that. But since Barcelona, he wants to do that extra stop. He wasn't too keen on doing the one stop in Spa, but they were kind of forced into that with the 5-second time penalty and the degradation being a lot lower than expected. And I think, yeah, him saving that extra set of softs, of course. He has won here 8 times. He has only won more times at Silverstone for the British Grand Prix. This is his 2nd most successful place. He's one of the most successful drivers. Is he the most successful driver here ever? He is definitely one of the most successful drivers here. I think he matches Michael Schumacher's record for wins here. So, yeah, he knows how to drive around Hungary. He knows what works. And, of course, I think he is still the quickest driver this weekend. So... if he went out when Lando did for qualifying yesterday, I think he would have stuck it on pole. I think he would have improved his time. Ferrari dropped the ball there and sent them out way too early. And Lando, yes, capitalised on it. And that's why it's even more frustrating for Hamilton that he got that impeding penalty, because he probably sits there and goes, I'm the fastest man here this weekend, but I'm now starting 5th. So we'll see. But starting on the dry side of the track. So that is going to be interesting. So those are your strategies for the Hungarian Grand Prix. Right. Wow, 54 degrees. So, by the way, hang on. Let's get back. So, our track temperature at the moment is not correct. You need to add a 5 to that. It says 44 degrees track temperature. It is not. Martin Brundle just spoke to Bono, Kimi Antonelli's race engineer, of course, formerly Lewis Hamilton's race engineer. And he just said it's 54 degrees track temperature at the moment. That is how hot it is out there. So it's not 44 degrees as the track temperature states up above there. So that is hot, hot, hot. As he said, it is going to be tricky for Antonelli today. They're going to be burning up these tyres, which probably lends itself, as we just discussed, into that 2-stop strategy. Who will lead into the first corner? I know, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. I wonder if today, Charles Leclerc does something naughty. Because his defence, when he defends, he's super, super aggressive. And we've seen it last week in Spa. We've seen it this year against Lewis Hamilton. We saw it last year as well, a few times as well. Like, if Charles gets into the lead and then it's Lando on the attack, or even Lewis on the attack of Charles, I have said it, but I do think there will come a time where Charles causes an airplane crash. I hope it never happens. But the way that he defends and the way that he changes direction so late into the braking zones, he got away with it last year as well, if you remember, with George Russell. Updated to 52. There you go. It's jumped up to 52 now, but Bono did measure it as 54. But it's gonna be a feisty one today. Last time the track was that hot, Kimi had problems and retired. You think a first corner collision? Well, if there's any corner where there could be a collision, it is this one because it is wide. You can go around the outside. We have seen collisions here in the past. Lando to bottle it with the most OP car in F1 history to carry him anymore. Oh, that's a ridiculous comment. Leclerc probably leads into the first corner. Hamilton probably passes Piastri. We will see. Yes, so Norris lining up first, Charles second. Remember, starting on the inside line, which is on the dirtier side. Well, not the inside. Is it the inside? It is the inside. So starting on the dirtier side of the racetrack are those starting on who are even numbered. So you get Leclerc, Verstappen, Russell, Hadjar, Hulkenberg, Gasly, Bortoletto, Alonso, Sainz, Stroll, Perez is starting from the pit lane, so that doesn't matter. Risk of rain is 20%, by the way. 20% risk of rain is what has just been informed to us there. I'm going to move this down the bottom, actually, so you can see it there. 20% chance. It's not out of the realms of possibility. You wonder about the heat and the batteries. Yep. Lewis Hamilton radio comms was brutal to listen to. No clear directions at all. Ridiculous and typical Ferrari. Yeah, I mean, I do also put a little bit of blame on Lewis as well. I feel like he should have been more aware. Like he's just... I know he's just finished a lap, but he knew he was out first, so surely there's other cars. Like, he's just passed cars. So surely he should also know. But there are other cars that are going to be coming up close behind him. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, welcome. Nearly at 500 likes before the race has even begun. Thank you, by the way. Hit the like button if you can. We are just over 10 minutes until this race gets underway at the Hungarian Grand Prix. Do I think Kimi's penalty was fair? I'm not going to lie to you. I haven't read it in detail to know exactly what did occur, what the steward's reasoning was for Kimi Antonelli. Let me see if I can find it. I'll just have a quick read to see what was said. So they said the stewards heard from him, stated that on seeing the yellow flag light panel, he lifted off the throttle earlier than his previous push lap. This was verified by telemetry. However, the reduction in speed occurred in a very short period, and in fact, the car's speed when passing the scene of the incident was slightly higher than that on the previous push lap. The mini sector time was only 0.03 seconds slower than his best time for that mini sector, and whilst because he had lifted 16 metres earlier, he was 14 kilometres an hour slower entering the yellow flag sector, but was 3 kilometres an hour faster when passing the incident site due to less application of the brakes entering the corner. The FIA representatives noted that the speed reduction in the mini sector was less than 1%. The stewards considered this incident to be different to other incidents that have resulted in no further action. For this offence, is a drop of... Oh, sorry, he dropped 5 places, did he? However, the mitigation of the penalty... Okay, so he dropped 3. He's dropped 3, but because of the mitigation of the penalty, they've only done 3 instead of 5. Okay. I mean, I personally think I don't like this. Oh, you just have to lift under yellows. I kind of want the rules to be a bit harsher on this when it comes to yellows, and I almost feel like if a yellow is out, then you have to really slow down, because there is going to come a point where someone goes, "Oh, I've only just lifted," and then like you deem that to be sufficient. I mean, clearly he has lifted, but he has gone less than 1%. Like he's clearly the overall whatever it was. Yeah, I don't know. I don't like this whole if there's a yellow, you only just have to lift slightly, and you can still get your lap in. I think that's a safety concern, and I think one day someone's going to... There's going to be a collision there, and we're going to look back on it, and we're going to go, why was this ever a rule? Why is this ever allowed? You should just have to slow, like properly come off. I think we just need to say that any lap completed passing the yellow flag is just deleted. Yeah, I think so. Didn't it used to be like that? Or at least used to be like really affected. Yeah, I think so. Because it's to do with safety. There's only a yellow flag in qualifying, mainly because of safety. Do away with yellow, make it double yellow. Well, that's how it would effectively be treated, wouldn't it, Graham? It'd be effectively that you just removed any time someone is like pulled over or like spun out like that. I mean, you look back at the Max Verstappen one in Red Bull, like yes, it was then swiftly changed to a double yellow, but it should never have been a yellow in the first instance. It should just be straight away double yellow, something like that. Like you're playing with driver safety. The hot track temp is going to suit McLaren. I think really this is going to be a battle between the two Ferraris and the McLarens. Or, I mean, I say two McLarens. I don't know. I need to see more from Piastri. I'm not sure he's going to, from what we've seen this season and this weekend, he's got the updates on the car a day later than Norris. And we don't know what lap time he could have set yesterday because he was interrupted, impeded by Lewis Hamilton on that last flyer. But I don't know. I feel like this race is still going to be between the two Ferraris and Norris. Yellow flag laps deleted and add 3 minutes to session time for yellow flags so people get another chance so they don't do a Schumacher. That's a great... Yeah, I was thinking that as well, Bob, because then people will try and... If you know the whole lap is going to be deleted, then you know some drivers might try and... They might try and impact that. I think that's a sensible decision, yeah. Because they pause for red flags, don't they? They pause the timer for red flags in qualifying. So you can also just add time for yellow flags. And they also have added time before. What qualifying session was it not too long ago? Oh, what qualifying session was it? No, it was practice, sorry. It was practice. They added time to the practice sessions, didn't they? Because there were like multiple red flags. I can't remember which one it was this year. So they can do it. And qualifying takes the precedence. So they can push the junior formulas back. The track is filthy in front of Leclerc's car. Ugh. Silent listener here, match day. Well, welcome. I know there's many silent listeners, and those of you who don't speak in chat, that's absolutely fine. As long as you are enjoying the content, that is what matters. I do see, obviously, consistent figures when I'm looking, obviously, at the data and so forth. Returning viewers, etc., is very high. So that just shows that those of you who do find this channel keep coming back. So thank you as always. Hit that like button. We've got nearly 4,000 of you here in the stream before the race even got underway. So if you can hit that like button and get this stream to 1,000 likes before the race begins, that'd be a tremendous effort. And we are trying to hit 90,000 subscribers this weekend. So if you haven't yet hit that subscribe button and you think you have, just double check for me. Just double check that you've got the subscribe button selected. Some of you may think you have, but you actually haven't, and that will help us get closer to our next milestone, and then I can update that target to the magic number of 100,000 for after the summer break. Dusko, for a long time we haven't had a win from 5th, plus this year 8 wins from pole, 2 from 2nd. On average, around 50% of races are from pole, so it should turn around in the second half of the season. I guess though, you haven't had the fastest driver of this whole year. We haven't had the fastest driver of the weekend starting 5th though, have we? So I think for that, I think today that's a possibility. Thank you guys, thank you. McLaren's will be tough to beat today. I think it's more so Norris will be tough to beat today. I think Norris will lead down into turn 1 quite comfortably. Piastri could get a good start. I mean, if you had the old race start procedure, I think you'd probably sit there and go, yeah, Lewis Hamilton could very well lead this race into the first corner if we still had the old race start procedure. But we don't have that anymore, do we? You're hoping Piastri can jump the front row lead and win. Well, I think it could very well be a McLaren 1-2 out of the first corner. Because as we have seen and as we have discussed, the dirty side of the racetrack here, the even numbers, so 2nd, 4th, 6th, 8th, 10th, etc. Is Leclerc, Verstappen, Russell, Hadjar, Hulkenberg in those top 10 positions. they very, very rarely make up any ground at the start of this race because the inside line is so dirty. So Norris, Piastri, Hamilton have an opportunity here. And I think that's why if you're Lewis Hamilton, I think you have to start on the softs. What do you reckon? I think you have to start on the softs and you have to try and maximise having that extra level of grip from the softs and by being on the racing line here. I'm very well, thank you everyone. Very, very well. Hope you are good. Hope you are ready. We are moments away from finding out as well what tyres drivers will be starting on. There's a 20% chance of rain in the air. I don't expect it to arrive. Drivers are starting to do their radio checks, so we are just moments away from finding out who is going to be starting on what tyre. We'll just wait for those and then we'll go for our obligatory toilet break before the formation lap gets underway. Here we go. Oh, tyres. Hamilton's on the softs. Leclerc is on the softs. Ooh, love it from Ferrari. Bold, exciting. Do it. Do it. Love it. I mean, I guess Charles is on the softs as well because he's on the dirty side of the racetrack. It makes sense. He's going to be down on level. He's going to be down on grip anyway because of starting on the dirtier side of the racetrack, which is very dirty around here. So he's all going to be losing grip. Lewis, of course, wanting to maximise those brand new softs. He's going to go for the two-stop today. He's going to be aggressive. Spicy lap one on your way, ladies and gentlemen. Hit that like and subscribe button. We have just over 3.5 minutes until the formation lap gets underway. So now's the time to top up your beverages, top up the popcorn, get some snacks, and go for a toilet break so you aren't missing what I think is going to be a brilliant start to this Hungarian Grand Prix. Back in a jiffy. All right. 1.5 minutes remaining until we get underway here. Get your votes in finally for who you think is going to win the Hungarian Grand Prix. Ooh, it's going to be a very, very interesting opening lap here. If you can hit that up, we're nearly at 1,000 likes for the start before the race gets underway, guys. Nearly there. But we have very, very interesting set of circumstances here with Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton, the Ferrari duo, starting on the soft compound tyre. Bortoletto starting on the softs as well. Alonso starting on the softs. Sainz and Stroll. I thought we would see Liam Lawson start on the soft compound tyre as well, to be honest with you. In 11th, he has 2 brand new sets of softs to use. But no, he is starting on the medium as well. Max, tyre update. So, Ferrari on soft. All other cars in the top 10 on medium. That is what Max Verstappen has just been relayed, that information to him by GP, who will be leaving for McLaren in 2028. Will Verstappen be following suit? GP rumoured to be eventually taking over that team principal role. So Verstappen starts P4. We'll run through the starting grid once they are on the formation lap here. But welcome everyone. Welcome. 199 Michael. Thank you. Mission 44. We drive as one. Colt LH, 8 times champion. Thank you for the 199. It's going to be a very, very interesting one if you are tuning in. Lewis Hamilton, who did qualify second yesterday, did get a free place grid penalty and starts 5th. Kimi Antonelli got a free place grid penalty as well for speeding under yellows. So, Antonelli, your championship leader, who currently has 204 points, he will be on... He's 204 points. I am actually going to bring up, as the formation lap is about to get underway, I'm going to bring up the track limits. Keep an eye on the track limits violations, because that is something that I think needs to be kept an eye on today, as we have seen lots of track limits violations over the course of this weekend, especially in qualifying yesterday. So, here we are, ladies and gentlemen. The formation lap underway here for the Hungarian Grand Prix. Lando Norris is your pole sitter. He is P1. He lines up on the medium compound tyre with Charles Leclerc alongside him for as Lewis Hamilton got demoted yesterday. Oscar Piastri starts P3 on the clean side of the racetrack. Those on even numbers starting on the clean side. Those on the odd numbers, and those on the even numbers, they start on the dirty side. Hence why Charles Leclerc probably is starting on the softs to try and maximise the level of grip that he can get. Max Verstappen starts P4. Lewis Hamilton on the soft compound tyres. He has a brand new set. Let's see how that fares for him starting on the clean side. George Russell starts P6, even though he's got a brand new engine in the car. Antonelli starts P7 after that free place demotion as well, that penalty for speeding under yellows. Agile starts P8, Lindblad P9, Hulkenberg P10 and Lawson P11. I expect a tasty battle between those three for the last point scoring positions today. Gasly and Colapinto in 12th and 13th. Do not rule out the Alpines. Bortoletto in 14th. He starts on the soft. He's going to be aggressive in that midfield. Ocon starts 15th. Alonso with those 16 updates on the Aston Martin. They did work a treat as he got into Q2 for the first time this year. He starts P16 on the softs. Behrman in 17th. Sainz 18th. Albon 19th. Stroll starts on the softs as well in 20th. And Bottas and Perez start 21st and 22nd, with Perez starting from the pit lane. Thank you everyone for tuning in, by the way. Much appreciated. We've got over 1,000 likes before this race has got underway. Nearly 9,000 of you here, nearly 10,000 of you here in the stream. Trying to hit 90,000 subscribers today as well. If you can hit that subscribe button, what a milestone that would be for us to achieve heading into the summer break here, as this is our last race from four weeks. So I've changed it over to the race layout. We are on race layout. Apologies, you guys always remind me there. That's my fault. There we go. Too busy talking, but drivers are lining up on the grid for the start of the Hungarian Grand Prix. Lewis Hamilton has been told there's a tailwind into turns 1 and turn 4. That is going to make things interesting for the braking zone down to turn 1 and turn 4. Those are two corners where really you do not want to have a tailwind. How influential is that going to provide us? Provide us some intrigue today. We have seen incidents many a time before down into turn 1. Most famously, Valtteri Bottas bowling, they said, bowling in 2021 down into turn 1. But no wet weather at the moment as Sergio Perez makes his way down to the end of the pit lane. Here we go. Drivers are lined up. Drivers are lined up, waiting for that last driver to line up there. Slight delay here again, but it is lights out, and we are go for the Hungarian Grand Prix. It is a very long run down to turn 1. Who has made a good start here? Those of them starting on the dirtier side of the racetrack. Can Charles Leclerc hold on to his position? But Oscar Piastri gets ahead of Charles Leclerc into turn 1, but it's not over and done with yet, as Antonelli is up a place and George Russell looks like he's fallen back through the field as Lewis Hamilton has got past Charles Leclerc. Is that correct? As Charles Leclerc takes back the position from Lewis Hamilton, and Norris leads ahead of Oscar Piastri Piastri, but no, Piastri is ahead, switching of positions here at the start of the race, as well as happened in the first sector as Oscar Piastri starts this race unbelievably well. He got impeded by Hamilton yesterday and he's up into P1, Lando Norris P2, and Verstappen is P3 with Hamilton ahead of Charles Leclerc. A terrible start for Charles Leclerc as he just got bogged down at the start, found himself out of position into turn 1. Verstappen sweep round, and then Hamilton went down the inside of, wow, Hamilton nearly had a go on Verstappen down into turn 3, and Charles Leclerc, starting on the dirtier side of the racetrack, just found himself completely shoved out of position and left the door open for Piastri, for Verstappen and his teammate, as Charles is now down into 5th and Hamilton is P4. Verstappen 3rd, Norris 2nd and Piastri 1st. So it is a McLaren 1-2. It feels like it's 2025 again, all over. So Piastri rounds the last corner for the first time. Overtake mode will be enabled. Piastri leads from Norris in P2 with Verstappen P3. Hamilton 4th, Charles Leclerc 5th. Antonelli is 6th with Hadjar 7th. Lawson 8th as George Russell is down 14 places. That is not a glitch on your timing tower. No, George Russell down in 14th place. Actually, he's up into 19th place as he has been plagued with engine issues this weekend and actually has a new engine in that car. As Antonelli got very close to the back, as Hadjar got very close to the back of Antonelli there, as Hamilton sets the fastest middle sector of this, last sector of this race last time around on that set of soft compound tyres. But George is down into 18th. The track is so dirty and dusty out there at the moment as Hamilton is all over the rear of Max Verstappen and he needs to make quick work of Max Verstappen at the start of this race as Lewis Hamilton says driving pretty dirty. Not sure if that's in relation to Max Verstappen or if that's in relation to the track surface itself as Leclerc does the fastest first sector of the race as he finds himself down in 5th. But that is the nature of this Hungaroring circuit. The Hungaroring circuit, you can make moves, but you can find yourself just shoved out of position, and Charles has found himself 3 places down and Piastri finds himself ahead of his teammate. A brilliant start by Piastri on his teammate. He went round the outside, swept round the outside, then had the inside line into turn 2, and that is why he is now in P1, up 2 places from where he started. Lando Norris P2, he is just under a 10th there, under a second behind his teammate as they cross the line for the second time as Lance Stroll is overtaken by Valtteri Bottas there of all people. So Lance Stroll, those updates not particularly working that well for him as Hamilton is trying to capitalise those soft compound tyres and get ahead of Max down into turn 1, but I don't think he's got enough just yet as Verstappen is still within the overtake mode range of Lando Norris. But Hamilton's going to come for a move here. He's looking for a lunge on Verstappen down into turn 3. Verstappen isn't going to give this up easy. They're side by side. Oh, they're still side by side, and Hamilton unable to get the move done there on Verstappen, but he's still going to have a run down into turn 4. Is he going to be able to get past Max Verstappen? We've seen these two tussle side by side numerous times this season. It's been great to watch, and Hamilton unable to get past Max right now and still finds himself stuck behind the Red Bull driver. George Russell trying to recover those positions. He's up into P17 after his car just bogged down at the start of this race. Don't know if that's driver error or if that's an engine issue that he has had throughout this weekend with a brand new placement. So that's, yes, Max Verstappen did cover off Lewis Hamilton quite comfortably there, and Charles Leclerc just sitting back patiently watching Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton. As you can see, Charles Leclerc got very close to Hamilton in the middle sector there. George went into anti-stall. So an issue there for George Russell, undoubtedly at the start of this race, which is why he is down in 17th place. But he won't be 17th for longer as he is going to be moving up into P16 and past Ollie Behrman in a very short moment, you do presume. But Piastri, turn 3, noted Alonso and Behrman forcing another driver off the track. So Fernando Alonso, who is up in 15th at the moment on the soft compound tyres, he is under investigation. Esteban Ocon looks like he's going to be attacked by Bortoletto as well, who is up a place into P13. He's going to try and go for a move. No such luck. Liam Lawson, though, by the way, update on the midfield. Liam Lawson has found himself up 3 places into P8. An unbelievable race start from Liam Lawson. And he is 2.3 seconds ahead of his teammate, who is fighting tooth and nail with Nico Hulkenberg. So I don't know if Lindblad maybe had some contact there or if he's just struggling. But Liam Lawson is flying at the moment. A 26.3 compared to a 27.0 to Lindblad. So I don't know if Lindblad has some issues that he's managing in the early stages of this race. Need to see a replay of the race restart because lots happen, lots of changes of position. But Hulkenberg, can he score his first points of the season? Still on 0 points for the season. Max Verstappen losing that 1 second range to Lando Norris, and Norris still about to maybe potentially lose a second, that overtake mode range to his teammate. And well, this will be essential for Lewis Hamilton because it means Verstappen won't be able to utilize the overtake mode to defend from Lewis Hamilton. But how will Hamilton have it this time around? Of course, just because you've got it doesn't mean that you have the excess battery stored up to utilize it. As Hamilton on those soft compound tyres, an aggressive start to this race for both Ferrari drivers. Hamilton started on the cleaner side of the race circuit, and he did make it worthwhile as he finds himself ahead of his teammate. But Charles Leclerc sitting 8 tenths behind Lewis Hamilton. Hamilton getting up close there, but not enough this time around, which makes me think he didn't have enough to utilise overtake mode. We do predict that there'll be a 2-stop race today. There could potentially be a 1-stop, but with the track temperatures upwards of 52 degrees Celsius, that is going to be very tricky to do here at the Hungaroring. As you can see, the McLaren starting to pull the gap to Max Verstappen in P3 and Hamilton in P4 with Charles Leclerc in P5. Kimi Antonelli, update on him, our championship leader. He'd only be gaining 8 points as it stands if he was to finish in P6. He is 1 second behind Charles Leclerc and trying to close down that gap to the Ferraris. And for P3, do not rule out the young Italian George Russell back up into P15 after receiving anti-stall at the start of this race. As watching the replay of the race start as they make their way through the middle sector here. So the race start here. Isaac Hadjar made a great start, went straight past George Russell. George Russell lucky not to be collected there. Oscar Piastri had the best start out of anyone. Charles Leclerc found himself sandwiched in between Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton, and well, just had to concede the position, then went side by side with his teammate, and Lewis had to try and look down the inside of Max Verstappen, and Max then tried to cover off Charles Leclerc, and Lando actually did regain P1 from Oscar Piastri into P2, but then he had to concede the position because he had no grip and he was on the outside of the track surface. So Piastri leads 25-0 to Lando Norris this time around. It's the first time Piastri has been leading a race since Suzuka in the early stages of this season. He potentially could have won that day. Is he going to get another opportunity today? As we saw that Piastri had a 5.13 second start to 200 kilometers an hour, whereas Max Verstappen was 5.25. So Lewis Hamilton on those softs still not able to get past Max Verstappen at the moment. Max still maybe benefiting a little bit from the slipstream from Lando Norris up ahead. He will have overtake mode though on Max Verstappen this time around. You can see Max losing a whole heap of time to those McLarens, and it's now or never really for the Ferrari of Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc to clear Max Verstappen, who has not been at one with that Red Bull this weekend, and get past him so that they can try and battle the McLarens. Otherwise, they are going to build up a sizable gap before you even know it. So we'll keep an eye on that battle at the front. Liam Lawson still pulling out a gap to his teammate Arvid Lindblad. He is 2.7 seconds, 2.7 seconds ahead of Arvid Lindblad and 3.7 seconds behind Isaac Hadjar. So he is the best of the rest at the moment. Pierre Gasly losing a bit of ground to Hulkenberg and Arvid Lindblad for these last point scoring positions, but still a very long way to go in this race today. George Russell is up into P14. He's kind of picking one place off at per lap at the moment after dropping pretty much to dead last after receiving anti-stall at the start of this race, as we do just have a slight delay in the live data here. As we can see what has happened with the live data. Sure, come on, sort yourself out, live data and track map, as it seems, if we're looking at the timing tower, that Oscar Piastri, as Max Verstappen says, the damping failed for sure, as Verstappen not happy. So Max Verstappen is 1.8 seconds behind Lando Norris, and Hamilton is 4 tenths behind Max Verstappen. Leclerc is 1 second behind his teammate, as there is an issue with the track map here. Not entirely sure what's happening. Let's reload that back up, the track map, as it is very skew-if at the moment. Not entirely sure what is occurring there. Apologies. Let's get that back up, the track map, as we can see here. So let's just rotate that around again. Oh my goodness, what is happening here? 2 seconds, everyone. You can see the timing tower. That is working very well. The track map, not so much. What is going on here? Oh my goodness, what's going on here? 2 seconds, everyone. I don't know what's just happened to my multi-viewer. Oh goodness, 2 seconds. All of my save data's gone. Great. Okay, well, that's what we have to deal with at the moment. Apologies. It's just deleted all of my settings. Well, there we go. We can still see everything here at the moment. I'm trying to rotate the map again. It's just completely screwed me over here. It's just deleted all my settings. Okay, there we go. We're back. We're back. Apologies for the slight delay there. Hopefully it's okay. But yeah, all my save data has just disappeared. So hopefully you'll be able to see everything. I'll have to sort that out afterwards. But there we go. So we can still see where the gaps are, what the intervals are, and the tyre history as well from the teams and where drivers are currently positioned. So hopefully that's okay with you all. And then in relation to my AI stuff, that's all. The radio transcriptions have gone. Oh, dearie me. There we go. Right, let's leave that there. Track map's still not right. It seems to be floating around. Good old F1 data. It seems at the moment. Colours have all changed as well, so apologies if you're a bit thrown off there. But we are back, everyone. We are back. Hope everything is good. Seems to have, completely gone on the fritz there. So, let's have a look at who is where. So, Oscar Piastri still leading by 1.76 seconds to Lando Norris. Max Verstappen, 2.1 seconds. Hamilton is on the attack of Max Verstappen. It looks like via the live data through the timing tower, as the track map is all over the place at the moment. It's supposed to be the peak of motorsport, this is, isn't it, with the whole live data that's coming through. I'm not the only one. Okay, fair enough. Seems to be that this is ongoing at the moment. But we can check the timing tower, and Lewis Hamilton is still stuck. Still stuck behind Oscar Piastri. So it's still stuck behind Max Verstappen at the moment. He's 7 tenths behind Lando Norris. Lewis Hamilton, 7 tenths of a second behind. Liam Lawson is 3.2 seconds ahead of Arvid Lindblad at the moment. So Isaac Hadjar, 4.3 seconds behind. Antonelli's a bit of a land of his own at the moment. So really the closest drivers out there, Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc, really need to make quick work and get ahead of the Red Bull driver, because they are losing important ground to the McLarens as they are pulling away comfortably. Lando is going to sit behind his teammate in a comfortable range right now to look after his tyres in the stage of this race. If you're just tuning in, everyone, the live data is a bit skewy at the moment, so apologies for that. I'll try my best to interpret everything as the whole F1 data has reset my settings, so I'm not entirely sure what has happened there. So Piastri still leads 1.5 seconds from Lando Norris. Verstappen 2.4 seconds behind. We are 10 laps into this race, 61 remaining here of the Hungarian Grand Prix. Max Verstappen 2.5 seconds behind the two McLarens as they're pulling out time there. Hamilton on the brand new set of softs, unable to get past the Red Bull driver as Norris is told, how's the tyre? How's the race? Just dirty air, really. Much faster, but yeah, just dirty air. And I'm going to have to give it to Oscar Piastri, who has won at this track before, of course. The McLarens have won here the past 2 years, and it looks to be a good circuit for them as Oscar Piastri leads by 1.3 seconds to Lando Norris. Max Verstappen, 2.4 seconds. Hamilton, P4, dropping off the back of the Red Bull driver, 0.8 seconds behind. Charles Leclerc, 0.75 seconds off of his teammate. Antonelli dropping back from the two Ferraris, 1.6 seconds. Hadjar 5 seconds behind, he's losing ground. Lawson 4 seconds, 5 seconds behind Hadjar. Best of the rest is Arvid Lindblad is now starting to pull away from Hulkenberg and is 1.3 seconds ahead of the Audi driver as Gasly is 2.9 seconds behind them. George Russell, who had anti-stall at the start of this race, he is now down in 12th place. He was down in 20th at the start of this race after he anti-stalled there with a brand new power unit, so it's not been very good for him. Track map is pinging around at the moment, so apologies for it. Seems to be that everyone, I'm not the only one right now, but we are doing our best to provide you the commentary to keep you guys updated. As Piastri is asked, how is the tyre, Oscar? Currently, we are thinking plan A, target lap. Tyres feel good, is what Oscar replies very calmly over the radio as he is 1.1 seconds ahead of his teammate. Hamilton seems to be a lot closer to Verstappen this time around. Not quite sure where they are out on circuit. Seems to be that they're coming around the last corner now, as Hamilton does is half a second behind Max Verstappen, but loses a bit of ground there out of the last corner and doesn't have enough to get alongside Verstappen and make an attempt. In this day and age with technology, the track map hassles is unacceptable. Which track map was accurate? So do I, ladies and gentlemen, so do I. So there is a delay. It seems to be that the radio messages are not filtering through either, so not entirely sure what's happening there. Max on the radio. Please do something about these shifts and don't tell me it's me shifting later. So Max Verstappen not happy with the shifts on his Red Bull at the moment and still looking in his mirrors at the Ferrari of Lewis Hamilton, but importantly, Lewis is still in his mirrors, and he isn't going to be ahead of him at the moment, but he's losing time to the McLarens up ahead. Max doing a tremendous job to hold on to P3 in the first instance, as Lewis Hamilton says Max is really slow. So Hamilton, he's slow, but you have to be quicker and get past him, Lewis. So you can say he's slow, but you have to get past him. Track map currently has issues at the moment. I'm going to put that in a pinned chat. Track map. I mean, even my keyboard's not working at the moment, so screw it. Screw it. Oh, it's the second time this has happened this season with the Monaco Grand Prix and now at Hungary. Quite ironic that Hungary is known as Monaco without the walls. And, well, Piastri leads from Lando Norris P2. We're 12 laps into this race, 59 remaining. Great start from Oscar Piastri to swoop around his teammate and Charles Leclerc on the first lap. Lando Norris 1 second behind. Max Verstappen in P3. Lewis complaining he's slow. He's up a place into P4 on a set of soft compound tyres. Charles Leclerc on a set of used softs. Lost ground, quite considerable ground at the start of this race, down 3 places into P5. He is 1.2 seconds behind his teammate, as we have Valtteri Bottas out there. He's just been overtaken. He's just overtaken his teammate. As Lance Stroll is dead last at the moment, so he's not doing very well compared to his teammate, who's up in 16th place. Kimi Antonelli is up a place into P6, but only because of his teammates anti-stalling at the start of this race, as Max reports quite a lot of rear degradation. So he is 3 seconds behind. Can Lewis Hamilton get ahead of him before he decides to pit? He's faring much better on those softs compared to Max Verstappen on the mediums. Isaac Hadjar is P7. Liam Lawson, a great start from him. He is up 3 places after starting P11. Of course, that is one position there is due to George Russell's anti-stall. And, well, he is looking to beat his teammate and score points after not finishing in the points for the first time in a handful of races last time out at Spa. Other than that, in P9, he's looking for his 4th race in a row, finishing in the points. And Nico Hulkenberg is looking to score his first point of the season, as he's in P10 at the moment. But he is swiftly being caught by George Russell, and he'll be in that unwanted 11th position, as Alex Albon took a very big excursion there through turn 4. Oh my goodness, very big save from Alex Albon. I only saw the end of it and I just saw the start of it, and he got a rear swapper on him on the entry to turn 4. That's where you definitely don't want to get one. Yes, running through the grid again. Gasly is P12, Ocon is P13, Bortoletto 14th, unable to make ground in that Audi, as I think Lewis Hamilton is in the pits. Is Lewis Hamilton in the pits? He is indeed. That track map slightly so skew-if at the moment. Let's reload it. Let's reload that track map. I think they're all shooting all over the place anyway, so there's not really too much that we can do. But Lewis Hamilton in the pits, off of those soft compound tyres. He's been getting stuck behind Max Verstappen. And, well, he has decided to get off of those soft compound tyres that he started on and is out of the pit lane. He's going to come out dead last. So trying the undercut here. Can they get it done? And will anyone respond? Will Max Verstappen respond? Will Red Bull respond? Let's see, as he's on the hard compound tyre, Lewis Hamilton. I'd love to change things for you, but it just seems it's too much effort right now to oh, do you know what? Sod it. I'm just going to quickly do it. Hang on. Race 8 column. That's IndyCar. I need to add a new layout. 2 seconds. Let's go. Oh, Jesus. I can't remember what I had. Interval to car ahead. Positions gained lost. Set to 1, set to 2, set to 3. Then we had tyre compound. I think that's what we had. think that's all we need there, right? Oh, gap. We need gap. We need the gap. Hang on. Verstappen is coming in. So, apply changes. Gap can go up there. There we go. There we go. I think that's better. That's better. Right. So let's see what is going to happen here then. Lewis Hamilton, has he been able to get ahead of Max Verstappen? It does seem like he has. He's got the undercut done on Max Verstappen with a brilliant outlap there. A brilliant outlap. I need tyre life as well. Yep. Hang on. So I want the difference that there. And then I want tyre life. Where's tyre age? Tyre history. And where's tyre life? Oh, there we go. Yeah, tyre history. I don't want tyre now. Sorry, ladies and gents. There we go. There we go. I think we're back to where we kind of were with our setup. Oh. Apologies. Right, I think we're good. I think we're back to where like the setup is and how I like it. So even if the track map is a bit iffy, I am back to being able to sufficiently commentate for you all. So Lewis Hamilton, big note there. He's on the hard compound tyre and he's been able to get ahead of Max Verstappen with the track map. Best time. Oh, hang on. Yeah, hang on. Last time and best time, isn't it? Where's times? Best lap, and we need last lap. I think that's it there. There we go. There we go. I think that's it, guys. I think that's it. I think we're there. I think we're there. Oh, Jesus. Right. Hot and sweaty work, that is. Hot and sweaty work. So if you're just tuning in, welcome. It's not our usual proceedings here as we have issues with the track map. Again, as Verstappen went down the inside of Lewis Hamilton, down into turn 1, by the way, while I was sorting all that out. And Verstappen has got ahead of Lewis Hamilton. Hamilton saw it coming. There was potential of that being an issue like it was last time around. But Lewis Hamilton has been caught napping there. And Verstappen has got back ahead of Lewis Hamilton. So what has happened there with Lewis Hamilton? Was that a battery issue as Lando Norris has got ahead of Piastri as Piastri is now into the pit lane? There's a yellow in the pit lane. Why is there a yellow in the pit lane as Charles Leclerc is in the pits as well? I have no idea what's occurring right now in the pit lane. I'm trying to find out for you all. But there is a yellow in the pit lane. What has happened there? Who is stricken? What has happened in the pit lane? Trying to figure this out for you. Lewis got a tow from the V-carb. But trying to see, why is there a yellow in the pit lane? Not sure, but a good pit stop by Oscar Piastri, a 2.5 second pit stop. Charles Leclerc's pit stop. Watching it now. Good pit stop from Charles Leclerc as well. 2.4 second pit stop for Charles Leclerc. Yellow in the pit lane, not entirely sure what it is, but big news here for Verstappen. Got ahead of Lewis Hamilton, but Lewis Hamilton looks like he's closing up on Max Verstappen here as they are heading down into the first corner. Not entirely sure what has happened with this yellow in the pit lane, as the pit lane is now clear, so no, hasn't held up either. Piastri, as Verstappen says, that was quite special, and he says, I don't want to complain, but that was, again, moving under braking. I mean, it's nice action, but it's not right. So Verstappen, not happy with Lewis Hamilton moving under braking. He's not happy with Lewis Hamilton moving under braking. We'll have to see it back to see exactly what happened there. Of course, those two have history at that corner where Max Verstappen went airborne as Norris is now into the pit lane to respond to his teammates. So both McLarens pitting one after the other, and Antonelli will inherit the lead of this race unless he decides to follow suit into the pit lane as well. Woo. This one? Was it Bottas? Was it Bottas's brakes were on fire? Fair enough. But yeah, we're trying to do our best here, guys, with the data that we have available to us with this track map. I might just get rid of it, to be honest with you, because it is really off-putting at the moment. This track map, it's I don't know what's going on with it with all the transponders. But Norris out of the pit lane. He is into P4. George Russell gains another place on Arvid Liblet there and moves him down into P10. So George Russell, who had anti-stall at the start of this race, is now down. Is now back up into P9. needs to hold out for the safety car at this point, Kimi Antonelli, if he wants to win the race. Yes, well, he has been on the opposite side of safety cars for quite some time, hasn't he? And maybe he'll be on the right side this time around. As Esteban Ocon dives into the pits as well. So these are drivers, I think, definitely committing to a two-stop. There's no way they're taking the hard compound tyre. 53 laps to the end of this race as Piastri is very close to the back of Isaac Hadjar, being held up somewhat, as you now see that Piastri, Norris, Verstappen and Hamilton are all separated by just a under a second from one another. So the undercut of Verstappen and Hamilton has brought them back into the battle with the two McLarens up ahead of them. And well, Max Verstappen, will his car fare much better on this hard compound tyre than that of the others of McLaren and the Ferrari of Lewis Hamilton, as there's a fastest middle sector there for Charles Leclerc. So Charles Leclerc, by staying out there like an extra lap or so, now finds himself 4.1 seconds behind his teammate and Max Verstappen ahead. So Charles Leclerc has definitely lost out on some time there compared to his teammate and Max. Going to get rid of the map at the moment, guys. It is just absolutely... we'll try and reload it after a while, but at the moment, as Piastri gets ahead of Isaac Hadjar there, seems to be... I'm going to get rid of the radio transcriptions as well because they're not working either. So apologies. We do have some tech issues here today. Let's add the speedometers as well, and the speed, as we can see that Hadjar loses another place there. Let's add... who is we adding? I wanted to add speed. Where's speed? Where's speed? Speed. No, that's sector speed. We want the actual speed. There we go. Speed of the current car. And we can move that up here. There we go. There we go. I think is it best lap? I think I said best lap is what I need to remove. I don't think we need best lap. Hang on. Let's remove best lap. It just looks a bit too messy. There we go. Right, I'll try a track map again. It's just completely all over the place at the moment. We'll reduce it to there. Don't focus too much on it as it's all over the place. Right, I need to see what else were... I need to see that replay again of Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen. As Lewis has got ahead of Max Verstappen... oh no, he's ahead of a Red Bull, but it's not the Red Bull of Max Verstappen. It's ahead of the Red Bull of Isaac Hadjar. Apologies, ladies and gents, there for getting a little bit excited and raising my voice. So, as it stands, Antonelli is currently P1. He's on the medium compound tyres. He is trying to go a bit longer in this race. Maybe he's going to try and do a one-stop here, as Piastri is 12.5 seconds ahead of... 12.5 seconds behind Kimi Antonelli. Lando Norris is P3. He is right behind his teammate, as Verstappen is 1 second behind, with Hamilton 1.3 seconds behind as well. As you can see that Charles Leclerc there is 2.4 seconds behind Lewis Hamilton. Norris just does the fastest first sector of the race. 89,000 subscribers. Thank you everyone for tuning in, by the way. It's very difficult today. We have some big technical difficulties that are outside of our control, as you can see from the glitchy track map, but we are trying our best. We had this back when it came to Monaco as well. Hopefully it will be resolved, as we are not even halfway through this race yet. We're on lap 20 of lap 51. Antonelli leads 12.2 seconds from Oscar Piastri, but he's still yet to make a pit stop. Lando Norris sets the fastest first sector there, chasing down his teammate, who is 6.5 tenths behind him. He lost the position to his teammate, who had a great start to this race. Verstappen, he did lose a position to Hamilton on the pit stop, got the undercut done, Lewis Hamilton, but then Verstappen took it back with a great move down into turn 1, which I'm still waiting to see a replay of. Hamilton in P5. He started on the softs. He made a couple of positions up on his teammate in particular, who lost 3 places and now finds himself in P4, but Anthony's still yet to make a pit stop as Lando does the fastest lap of the race, a 24.374. He wants to regain that lead back from his teammate. Could we see the two McLarens fighting it out here? Surely no papaya rules in place here, as Piastri has been told. Antonelli has stayed out. He's likely to try and one stop. We need really strong pace this stint, so that doesn't work for him. So Piastri and Norris told to push here to try and thwart off the one-stop attempt by Kimi Antonelli. Will he be able to make it work? Lindblad now into the pits as well. George Russell now finds himself back up into P7, only 1 place down from where he started after receiving anti-stall at the start of this race. So Hamilton P5, Leclerc P6, Russell P7, Lawson still P8, still yet to make a pit stop as well. He'll probably likely be coming in soon, as Lindblad has just made his pit stop. Hadjar in P9, Bortoletto is P10, still yet to pit, as well as Alonso is up in 11th. That's not a merit, guys, he's still yet to make a pit stop. Lindblad out on the hards. He's P12. Hulkenberg 13th. Behrman 14th, still yet to pit. Gasly 15th. Albon 16th. Stroll 17th. Colapinto 18th. Ocon 19th. Sainz 20th. Perez 21st. And Bottas is 22nd. So, yes, Alonso faring much better than his teammate at the moment and still yet to make a pit stop as he started on the soft compound tyres. Norris is kind of flying at the moment in relation to his teammate at 23.349 last time around. It's another purple lap for Lando Norris compared to Piastri's 24.446, so he's chipping a bit of time out of him, but he's not able to make an actual overtake attempt at the moment. Yes, the glitch is not great. Yeah, I'm going to remove the track map for now because it is completely off-putting. We will bring it back, guys. We will bring it back, hopefully, when it kind of resolves itself. Bottas is still in the pits at the moment. Bottas still in the pits. Right, so Lawson now into the pit lane as well. Nearly got every driver making a pit stop as that actually promotes Fernando Alonso into the top 10. Into the top 10. Driver radio isn't working. The AI radio transcriptions aren't working either at the moment, guys. So trying my best to figure this out, but yeah, it does seem to be that there are issues. Hang on. So apparently driver tracker is not working from Formula 1. So yes, that is why at the moment we only have the live data. So the track map is all over the place. That's why we have removed it. But thank you everyone for tuning in. We'll do our best to provide commentary for you as Antonelli now dives into the pit lane. I do have the TV coverage alongside me so I can comment on the what is ongoing at the moment. So Piastri now regains back the lead from Kimi Antonelli as he pits out onto the hard compound tyres. But how close is he going to come out behind Charles Leclerc? 4.8 seconds is the moment. We'll see what that gap is when he actually rejoins the track. Piastri 1 second ahead of Norris. Verstappen is P3, 3.1 seconds behind and pulling away from Hamilton, who's 1.3 seconds behind Verstappen. Charles Leclerc gaining now on his teammate, who is 1.6 seconds further back. Antonelli rejoins the track and is 6 seconds behind Leclerc. He is going to try and do the one stop here. Well, I think that is him trying to do the one stop. It's going to be a very long way for him to do the one stop on 48 lap old hards here. I'm not entirely sure what is going to happen to Antonelli on that one stop. It's going to be a fair effort for him to achieve that. Right, so George Russell back up, is in P7, still yet to make a pit stop. He has had to claw his way back from P20 after stalling on the grid, and well, he has done well to be in P7, but will lose some time, of course, when he does eventually make a pit stop. He's probably going to do a one stop as well and kind of been forced into that one stop because of what happened at the start of this race. Isaac Hadjar is P8 and Bortoletto is up 5 places into P9 as Alonso is up 6 places as well. They're yet to make pit stops as well, so they will fall back, and Liam Lawson is P11 ahead of his teammate by 1 second in P12. Lindblad Hulkenberg 13th, trying to chase down those two and get that last point scoring position. Gasly in P14, Albon 15th, Stroll 16th, Colapinto 17th, Ocon 18th, Sainz 19th, Behrman is 20th, Perez 21st, and Bottas 22nd. We do have the map, but it's currently glitching like hell at the moment. I'm going to bring it up. I'm going to put it really small because at the moment it's not doing anything. It's just really obviously frustrating. So we'll leave it really small. And if it does sort itself out, then we will be able to do that. But at the moment, it's... yeah, the F1 data has really gone skew-if here. My whole setup has been reset, hence why colours are completely different. But Antonelli there, looking at P6, he is 20. He's just done the fastest first sector of anyone on those brand new hard compound tyres. He's looking to try and claw back some time to Charles Leclerc. Is he going to be stretching this out to the end of the race? It would be a very tall order for him to do so, I think, on 48 lap hard compound tyres. Track temperature is currently just shy of 52 degrees Celsius. I'm going to owe Mrs. Stuffeyy a nice dinner date for her to support. Yes, I know. She's very handy and helpful. So thank you. Right, so thank you everyone for tuning in. We do have technical difficulties. If you are just joining us, it seems we are not the only one. Hit the like and subscribe button, and it would be much appreciated. Trying to hit 90,000 subscribers. If there's another 1,000 of you in the stream right now that haven't hit subscribe, please and thank you. As Antonelli does the fastest lap of the race of 24.119, nearly a second quicker than that of Charles Leclerc up ahead. Surely he's not going to be taking these hards to the end of the race. The track map is having difficulties. The live data is still working, thankfully, in relation to the timings. So we do have a picture, a rough picture of what is happening out on track. And I do have live pictures to myself, of course, that I can translate to you over audio. So the McLarens are separated by only half a second at the moment. They are on full push, I think, depending on whether or not Antonelli is going to go for this one stop today. They are currently 4.5 seconds ahead of Max Verstappen. Lando Norris is 5 seconds overall ahead of Max Verstappen, with Hamilton 1.9 seconds back. So it looks like the way this race is unfolding, Hamilton now is just seeking a podium and trying to get ahead of Max Verstappen. But the Red Bull driver, you thought the undercut would work, which they did achieve, but Max took it back from Lewis. And I still need to see whether Lewis moved under braking or not. So, Hamilton 2 seconds behind. Charles Leclerc has really caught up to the back of Lewis. Does Lewis have issues here, or is he just managing this race? I wonder if Charles will be able to catch up to Charles Leclerc. If you want sector times, they are on screen right now. Sector 1, Sector 2, and Sector 3. We have, of course, the speed out there, so you can see how fast they are going as well and how fast they are travelling. And the timing screens do not lie, as Antonelli is the fastest man out on track at the moment with a 24.4 last time around and 4.8 seconds behind Charles Leclerc. Lewis's lap time was a 25.1, whereas Charles did a 25.0. The McLarens are just inside of the 125 second range at the moment for their lap times, 24.9 and a 24.9 both respectively. Only a couple of hundredths of a second separating those two at the front, managing that gap of just around 5 seconds to Max Verstappen in P3. This race is still very much up in the air, and the McLarens do seem to be in control of it at the moment. But there is still 45 laps remaining of this race. We are not even halfway through yet. Still a long way to go. These drivers are thinking about managing their tyres and looking at hitting their lap times, as Oscar Piastri has been told, plan a target lap, how's the tyre? And Piastri responds with, the rear doesn't feel great on this hard compound tyre. So they've already used the medium that they have, Piastri and Norris. And well, if they go onto another set of tyres, it would have to be either a used set of softs or a new set of hard compound tyres that they have available to use. As Antonelli sets a green middle sector as well and continues to close that gap on Charles Leclerc. 3.8 seconds the gap now. We'll keep a keen eye on that battle as Antonelli looking to really chase down the Ferraris and get one position behind P2 in the championship. As it stands, Antonelli, if he finishes P6, he would be only be gaining 8 points. Hamilton only 12. If he finishes P4, he would still have a 41-point lead in the championship, Antonelli, if things were to finish as they are. Oscar Piastri would gain 25 points and move up to 117. Norris, 18 points, up to 121. So, yes, could there be a real big turn in this championship in the second half of the season, as Leclerc is on the radio saying, we're losing quite a bit of time. So that's basically an insinuation of move Lewis out of the way. We're losing time. But is Lewis losing time? He is on paper. Is it by design, though? We will see. He did get comfortably overtaken by Max Verstappen, so I wonder if that Ferrari is struggling on this hard compound tyre at the stage of this race, or if there are issues, or if it's just Lewis Hamilton struggling in general, even though he's been quite comfortable in that car this weekend. But Charles Leclerc on the radio trying to force the issue as he's 1 second behind his teammate, and probably fully aware of Kimi Antonelli chasing him behind. 3 seconds the gap now to Charles Leclerc and Kimi Antonelli. He'll be on his behind in 5 laps time, according to the graphic on the TV coverage. So Lando Norris still staying within that 1 second range of his teammate, applying the pressure to Kimi Antonelli. I'm so used to saying Kimi Antonelli in first, but I think Lando's chasing Kimi Antonelli. No, he's chasing his teammate, because this is the first time this year we've seen the two McLarens leading in first and second, and quite comfortably in this race as well, but not particularly probably in the order you expected at the start of this race, because Piastri made an unbelievable start and gained the lead from his teammate, swooped round the outside of Charles Leclerc, as we do have George Russell now in the pit lane. George Russell recovered back up to P7 after that anti-stall at the start of this race. Let's see where he'll rejoin. Is he going to go for a one-stop here? He's done 27 laps on the mediums. That's a fair effort for George Russell, and he's going to have to go a very long way on these hard compound tyres. 43 laps to be exact to be able to do the one stop today. He is pitting out, and George slots in between, I think, the two V-carbs eventually, or maybe just ahead of Liam Lawson. So that's not too bad, to be fair, for him to be able to recover that, and he'll be looking to try and chase down Isaac Hadjar, not so much Bortoletto, as he is still yet to make a pit stop. Only two drivers yet to make a pit stop, as I think that is pretty much confirmation of Bottas retiring from this race due to his brakes fading, and even though he's in the pit lane, he is not rejoining this race. So Alonso and Bortoletto, who started on the soft compound tyres, are the only drivers yet to make a pit stop. They are on 27 lap old softs, and it's a fair effort from them to be able to take that there. Where is the Ferrari pace at the moment? I don't know, to be honest with you, but it's a lot slower than that of the McLarens. McLaren's lapping at the 25s, Verstappen 25s as well, and Hamilton is definitely slower. A lot slower. I wonder if there are issues with the Ferrari of Lewis Hamilton, because he is noticeably slower, unless he's killed his tyres. As Verstappen is saying, the shifts are pushing me out. As Verstappen still complaining about his upshifts and downshifts at the moment. Pushing me straight on, sorry, he says. Similar thing, pushing him out through the corner. So he's not happy. We'll see what Hamilton is going to be doing in this race. Is he just trying to hold onto his tyres a bit more, try and find some clean air, look after them to go on the attack later on in the race? We will see. 25.5 last time around for Lewis Hamilton and 25.1 for Leclerc. The top 5 are lapping pretty similar lap times, apart from Lewis Hamilton in P4. He did a 25.5, so we'll keep an eye out on those. Kimi Antonelli chasing down Charles Leclerc. He's going to be catching him very soon. He'll be on the back of that Ferrari. 6 lap old hard compound tyres, so he has half the life in those tyres compared to Charles Leclerc, and it is showing, as Antonelli did a 24.8 last time out, as Russell overtakes Gabriel Bortoletto comfortably with those brand new hards compared to Bortoletto's old 28 lap softs. Lewis holding back too much, if that's what he's doing. It depends, really. It depends what the strategy is. They only have a used set of mediums to use in the second half of the race. They can go onto the mediums if they want to, but maybe Lewis is trying to go a difference in strategy here. Maybe he is going to be thinking about, him and Charles are thinking more so about taking these hard compound tyres longer so that they have fresher mediums at the end of the race, whereas Piastri, Norris and Verstappen have already used their one and only set of medium compound tyres here, as well as Kimi Antonelli as well, so they will have to go onto a used set of softs or a brand new set of hards. And of course the hards are longer lasting, but they're not going to be as quick as the mediums at the end of the race, so we'll see what they decide to do. So it may look like he's going a lot slower at the moment, but it might be the grand plan. Gabriel Bortoletto now into the pit lane as George Russell sets the fastest lap of the race on the brand new set of hard compound tyres. He is in P8 as Lando Norris has just been told, to back off from Oscar. Hang on. So Hamilton has been tyre saving. Confirmation there. Norris has been doing something specific that he's been told now not to do, as Hamilton now dives into the pit lane. Interesting. So Hamilton had only just been told to start pushing on those hards as he was tyre saving, and now he's in the pits. This doesn't make sense for Lewis Hamilton. This doesn't make sense. If he was tyre saving and then he only just got told to push, why is he in the pits now? This doesn't make sense. So this is the undercut. Good pit stop by Ferrari. 2.4 seconds. Maybe they're just trying to find him some clean air, but I'm not entirely sure why. If he was tyre saving, why wasn't he told to push earlier? Not entirely sure there. Maybe they're trying to call the bluff, but Hamilton finds himself behind Isaac Hadjar. So he's going to have to get past Isaac Hadjar now. So that is, I mean, that's not great, is it? That's not great. As Piastri has been told, Hamilton's pitting, we need to use the pace now. But he's saying the car has been really inconsistent on this tyre. So they're forcing the hand of McLaren. We'll see what Hamilton's going to be able to do. But he's going to have to get past another Red Bull of Isaac Hadjar. And he got stuck behind Max Verstappen. And will Max Verstappen respond here? And will Red Bull respond to this undercut? Because this has really helped. Really helped Max Verstappen and the McLarens here by Hamilton getting stuck behind Isaac Hadjar. He's not going to be able to overtake him. He hasn't got clean air to push on his outlap like he was able to do the first time around. And, well, Ferrari, I don't really know what they've been playing at. They've made this pit stop too early, if I'm being completely honest with you. They should have told Hamilton to push for longer. Lewis, once again, thank you for the £5. Lewis, once again, for the third race in a row. No man's land and slow. I wouldn't say he's not shown the pace today, but you expect to see him. He's going to comfortably get past Hadjar now, which he has done, but that is not the outlap that Lewis Hamilton has wanted. But I think for him, Verstappen, Norris and Piastri haven't responded. So Hamilton's now going to have to push on this lap. Charles Leclerc not pitting either. Antonelli pushing on the back of Charles Leclerc. He's 1.1 seconds behind now. But I think that's a bit of a misstep by Ferrari. And he's been held up on a whole outlap by Isaac Hadjar. And I don't know why they didn't get him to use those hard compound tyres more in that stint if they've brought him in so early. So Lewis Hamilton, is this going to be a free stop maybe for Lewis Hamilton? We will see. Because he still has a set of mediums to use. Is he going to go for track position as Lando Norris? Message for Lando Norris on the radio. As Norris says, I need to get past. Do something, please. Norris being aggressive on the radio by his standards, saying, I need to get past. Do something, please. He is fully in a fight. He doesn't want papaya rules, and I think McLaren need to let their drivers fight as the McLaren engineers were in the pit lane waiting for a pit stop, and they both went past. As Norris says, Lando, we can't, I'm afraid. We can't. So they are playing this. McLaren they want to secure a 1-2, and Lando isn't happy. Lando wants to go on the attack. Lando wants to do something to win this race. And I have to agree with him. They aren't in a championship battle here today as Lewis Hamilton sets the fastest lap of the race, a 23.6. Supposedly, you mean you won't let me? I'm miles faster. Lando, not happy on the radio. We're seeing papaya rules play out again. Play out again. Let them fight. Let them fight, McLaren. Unbelievable set of circumstances here. Why would you not? They're not even in a championship battle. It's been a while since they've had a 1-2 for sure. But if they want to try and do something on one side of the garage or the other, I don't know why. This is motor racing at the end of the day. This is motor racing. Hang on. As Norris says, I'll pull out a 10-second gap with no tyres. Oh, confidence from Lando. Confidence. I'm being held up. I'll pull out a 10-second gap with no tyres. As Piastri now dives into the pit lane. So, Lando, what is he going to do now? Lando, he feels confident. He feels like he was being held up. And here we go, Lando Norris. He's a world champion now. He feels confident. He's grown some hair on his chin. And, well, he wants to take this win, which he feels like he is justified, but of course Piastri is also justified to be in P1 after a great start to this race. But you should let them fight. You should let either side of the garage battle it out. I think they can secure the 1-2 even with that. So Hamilton potentially pitted a bit too early as well, by the way, for the 2-stop here. He's either going to go very long in this race or he's going to go for a 3-stop strategy here. Not quite sure how that will work for Lewis Hamilton, but it is aggressive from them as Piastri is 2.8 seconds ahead of Hamilton as he rejoins the track. So Lewis Hamilton is on 3-lap older hard compound tyres. The undercut is powerful here, of course. You can see that is how quickly Hamilton has been able to close the gap there on Piastri, but it's still not close enough, is it, with the pace that Piastri has shown today and that McLaren out up front. Antonelli is now within the 1-second range of Charles Leclerc. If you're just joining us, the track map has been a problem today for Formula 1, the driver tracker. It's the second time this season, of course, after Monaco. So I appreciate everyone for tuning in. If you can hit that subscribe button and get this channel to 90,000, it'd be much appreciated. And of course, hit that like button. So Piastri has just come out of the pits and he is ahead of Lewis Hamilton by 2.4 seconds. Norris What is Norris going to do? Is he going to stay out there? He was getting very bold on the radio. And, well, let's see if he's going to come into the pit lane. It doesn't look like he is. He's going to stay out there. So he thinks he has the pace. Let's see what he's going to do. We are we're not even at the halfway mark, ladies and gentlemen, by the way. We are not even at the halfway mark. I feel like I've lived a lifetime. And we're only on lap 35. Well, actually, no, we are on lap 35 of 70. We are at the halfway mark of this race, finally. And yes, it feels like a lot has happened with the technical issues and things out on track. So Lando Norris leads at the halfway mark of this race. He has made one pit stop from 4.3 seconds from Max Verstappen. Charles Leclerc is 5.8 seconds behind Max Verstappen and 10 seconds behind Norris. But he's more focused in his rearview mirrors on Kimi Antonelli, who is half a second behind Charles Leclerc in P4. Piastri, P5. He's just made a second pit stop there on the hard compound tyre and covered off the undercut of Lewis Hamilton. A very early undercut of Lewis Hamilton in P6. Still think they brought him in too early. Hadjar in P7. He is 5.8 seconds behind Hamilton, and, well, Hamilton doesn't have to worry about him. Russell is in P8. He's 2 places down from where he started after an anti-stall, which demoted him down into 20th position. He now finds himself, as Hamilton says, am I going to be in trouble at the end of this race? Now we are fighting for the position with Max. Then we get the tyre advantage. Then we manage the tyres. What are Ferrari doing? This is bizarre. Hang on. So Hamilton is ahead of Verstappen at the moment if Verstappen decides to come in and pit. But then Verstappen's going to have to chase him down and overtake him. And that's what they're planning on. So they've gone for track position and they think that Hamilton is going to be able to hold off Max Verstappen on much fresher tyres. Not entirely sure. You restarted your multi-viewer and it sorted the track map out, did it? Not for me. It hasn't. So... right, let's see if let's see if it does sort its set. I'm going to do that quickly, ladies and gents. I'm going to just quickly reset everything. We are going to reset everything and just see if this sorts it out. Probably not, but we'll try. I don't want to share, just continue. My goodness, it is like completely reset itself. It definitely hasn't, but there we go. Oh my goodness. It definitely hasn't sorted itself out, but hey ho. Bizarre today. Bizarre. Quite frustrating, to be honest with you. Right, got track limits violations here, and I will bring up the championship standings as well, so you can keep an eye on who is where in the championship standings. There we go. So you can see who is where in the Drivers' Championship at the moment and those permutations as they unfold. Track map is removed. We are good to go, I think, and that's all we can do. So we are still have... we're still halfway through this race. Thank you for the 699, by the way, Sammy. Much appreciated. There are no unfortunate. There's no other things that are coming through in relation to the AI radio transcriptions have disappeared. By the way, they're not even working at the moment. So yeah, it's not working right now. It really isn't. So it is what it is. Hang on a second. Just trying to get the race control messages up for you as well, because that is obviously what we want to be able to see. Race control messages. Apologies. I will get back to the coverage as Charles Leclerc has pitted, it seems, by the way, and comes out behind his teammate. So, there we go. So, let's have an update of the race as it stands. Lando Norris is currently P1. He is 7.7 seconds ahead of Max Verstappen, with Antonelli 5.3 seconds behind. He has now been released of Charles Leclerc, as Charles Leclerc comes out ahead of Isaac Hadjar. He's 10.8 seconds behind Lewis Hamilton, as Hamilton has caught up to Oscar Piastri, by the way. He is very, very much so caught up to Oscar Piastri, 1.1 seconds behind. Not entirely sure what is happening with Oscar Piastri at the moment. As, by the way, even the onboard footage of the it seems to be that even the onboard footage of the cameras today, as I'm looking at the TV coverage, is not working either. Just FYI. So it is not just us who are having technical difficulties today. It's F1 as a whole. Onboard cameras, driver trackers, etc. But we still have the live data and timing screens for your pleasure today. And, of course, my commentary. So Verstappen 8.3 seconds behind Antonelli, is 4.6 seconds behind Piastri, 9.5 seconds behind Kimi Antonelli, with Hamilton 1.8 seconds further back. Charles Leclerc is 10.1 seconds behind his teammate, but he has 7 laps fresher tyres. Isaac Hadjar is currently in P7. Hang on. As Piastri lost quite a whole chunk of time there to Lewis Hamilton due to Carlos Sainz battling it out with, who was it? Carlos Sainz was battling it out with Fernando Alonso, or Lance Stroll, sorry. So the blue flags were thrown and Sainz was in the middle of a battle. Oh my goodness! Oh, Oscar Piastri nearly went off. He made contact with the lap car of Carlos Sainz. They banged wheels, and I think Oscar Piastri, did he receive damage? He got forced onto the grass through turn 3, nearly lost the rear, and Oscar Piastri, that's how he lost a whole heap of time. He's not happy whatsoever. Get out of the way. Way, you idiot. Oh my God. So Oscar Piastri's race nearly came to an absolute a quick end there, because he got held up by Carlos Sainz, who was in a battle with Lance Stroll and didn't see him. Wow. I wonder if that'll be, yes, noted for an incident, Sainz and Piastri. As Antonelli has got past Norris, as Norris now comes into the pits. Antonelli, I think, trying to do a one-stop here. It's going to be very tough for Antonelli to hold on to this. We'll see if he's going to be able to. Have Mercedes pulled off a blinder? Have they pulled off a blinder? Max Verstappen, what is he going to do? Is he going to pit, or is he going to hold on to track position as well? Can they even take those hard compound tyres to the end of this race? Max Verstappen, if he does so, those tyres would have done 56 laps by then, with 31 laps remaining. That is a tall order. I'm not sure they will last that long, but we will see. As Oscar Piastri is told the car looks okay. He's very, very fortunate. He has got away without any damage there. And, well, Lando Norris has done the overcut on Piastri because of that incident. Oscar Piastri finds himself out of a position there, primarily due to that incident with Carlos Sainz. He lost a whole chunk of time, and now Norris was able to launch himself ahead of him. So Norris and Piastri ahead. McLaren just can't have a normal Hungarian Grand Prix, can they, ladies and gents? They just can't have a normal Hungarian Grand Prix. So, yes, because of that, Oscar now finds himself out behind Norris, and Norris has 6 lap fresher tyres. So we aren't going to see, really, the McLaren duo probably come together. And, well, just saw Ollie Bearman lock the rears very uncharacteristically into turn 3, and he has into turn 2, and then with a bit of a dodgy rejoin as well, as Lewis Hamilton shoved Fernando Alonso out of the corner into turn 2 when he went under braking and was lapping himself there. So Hamilton now finds himself 1.5 seconds behind Oscar Piastri. As Piastri, look at that gap to Norris. Norris does a 23.577 there on this brand new set of tyres, as he will now have a bit of clean air ahead of him and be chasing down Kimi Antonelli, who is probably going to try and do this one stop today. We'll see what Max Verstappen is going to do. He only has a used set of softs or a brand new set of hards remaining to use in this race. All the mediums have been used up. The only drivers who have in the top 10 medium compound tyres still to utilise today is Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc, if they do so. But I don't presume they will, because they'll lose too much time. As Piastri is told, Oscar, that signs cost us. As he says, just don't fucking talk to me now. Nice of you guys to factor that one in, by the way. Oh, Oscar! Oscar! Wow, Oscar! The McLaren duo are very, very... They're not holding any punches when it comes to the radio messages today. Oscar not happy about that Sainz incident and about them taking it into consideration. Wow. I'd love to give you the radio transcriptions, but I don't have access to them at the moment because of the technical issues that we are experiencing today. That's why we don't have no track map at the moment. I have it off screen and it is still glitching out as Verstappen is into the pit lane. So where is Verstappen going to rejoin? Is he going to come out behind Charles Leclerc? That is the question. Will Charles be able to get ahead of Max Verstappen? We will see, as Charles Leclerc has lost a bit of time to Lewis Hamilton, actually, I think. He's just done a 23.7, as he's going to come out ahead, I think, of Max Verstappen. We'll see. How good was the pit stop? It's going to be very close between Verstappen and Leclerc as he's exiting the pit lane here. Watching the interval very, very closely as Colapinto gets past Carlos Sainz as Leclerc is all over the rear of Max Verstappen. He's on a set of soft compound tyres, Max Verstappen. Wow, he's on the softs. He's going on the attack. And, well, yes, Charles Leclerc was very, very close to Max Verstappen as Max had to go defensive down to the inside of turn 1 and turn 2. But Max now has softs to the end of this race. And, well, Hamilton is going to have to look after these hard compound tyres. And will Verstappen be able to take these softs to the end of the race? We did see Fernando Alonso use the soft compound tyre. 34 laps for him. He's currently in P14. And is now on the medium to the end of the race. By the way, Alonso and Stroll doing very well, bearing in mind the Aston Martins, 14th and 15th on merit as well. We only have one retirement for this race, which is Valtteri Bottas. So they are up in P14 and 15, respectively. And Alonso is looking to try and chase down Pierre Gasly, who was on the hard compound tyre to the end of this race. So Hamilton and Verstappen, that battle now. We'll keep an eye on that interval time. Antonelli leads by 3.3 seconds from Lando Norris, but Lando Norris is setting a lot of purple sectors here on the brand new hard compound tyres. So what is going to happen with Antonelli? Hamilton also, could he finish behind Antonelli today? Oh, imagine that, finishing behind Antonelli. Antonelli currently up 6 places into P first. Could Antonelli, after everything that's happened this weekend, after yesterday, could he still extend his championship lead? Surely couldn't. Could he? He surely couldn't. We will see. Hamilton, though, looking to defend from Verstappen. He's 8.1 seconds behind. Does Verstappen have enough? It's going to be one thing to catch and another thing to overtake, though. There's still 28 laps remaining in this race. So does he have enough tyre life in those softs to catch and overtake him? And then, not just overtake him, but hold on to the position as well. Because those softs undoubtedly will fall off sooner than the hards, you do presume. So we'll keep an eye on that as Lawson now dives into the pits for his second pit stop here. RV Lindblad currently in P9 with Lawson just dropping down. Where is he going to drop down to? I think he's going to come out comfortably ahead of Nico Hülkenberg. So it could be the V-Carb scoring points again here today. And Liam Lawson did make a very good start to this race, launching ahead of his teammate and Nico Hülkenberg into turn 1. But as it stands, you can see Lando Norris chasing down Kimi Antonelli. He's 1.6 seconds behind him. Antonelli is currently gaining 25 points if he was to finish in P1, but it's unlikely to do so. Hamilton, 12 points if he finishes in P4, but he's seeking to try and close down the gap to Piastri. You can see Verstappen, 7.7 seconds behind Hamilton there. He just took out 4 tenths of a second on Lewis Hamilton last time out. As Verstappen has said, is there any... But these are already terrible. It's unbelievable. Is there any proof that these softs will be lasting to the end of the race, is what Verstappen asks. And GP says yes, but he's not happy on those tyres. Lando Norris now eyeing up Kimi Antonelli. Yes, he is 1 second behind Antonelli, or less than 1 second behind. 5 tenths of a second quicker in that first sector alone. Lando Norris on 4 lap-old hards compared to Antonelli's 21 lap-old hards. 17 laps difference in age between Antonelli and Norris. Of course, the Mercedes out of position this weekend, started P7, and it had to try and pretty much a Hail Mary, as there is a 5-second time penalty confirmation there of Carlos Sainz causing a collision on Oscar Piastri, which was very, very costly for the Australian, as he lost out on that position with Lando Norris being able to do the overcut on his teammate. Otherwise, Lando would have come out behind Oscar Piastri. It was very close as they exited the pit lane as well. But Lando looking at this race win now. He's been very, very good this weekend. Lost the lead to his teammate, who made a brilliant start to this race, swooped around the outside, and, well, Norris is now looking at the rear wing of Kimi Antonelli for this race lead. It's not the only time he's been in this position. I looked at the rear wing of the Mercedes for the win. He was looking at the rear wing for around half the race distance in Miami, and he was unable to get that win there when the McLaren was so strong when he won the sprint race. But today, this weekend, the McLaren has undoubtedly been one of, if not the fastest cars, and Lando, with that updated McLaren, has looked very, very good. Reigning world champion, of course. Many have said that it is the weakest championship defence of any defending champion, and well, yes, you could say that, but it hasn't been his fault. It's been the car that hasn't hardly worked for, of course, Lando Norris. And, well, when the car is underneath him, he has put in good performances, as we are seeing here this weekend. Oscar Piastri has been pretty good as well, but he seems to have been rattled somewhat by that incident with Carlos Sainz. He's now 6.5 seconds behind Lando Norris. Max Verstappen, 7.5 seconds behind Lewis Hamilton. So, Norris, can he get past Kimi Antonelli? I think it's a matter of when, not if. And Oscar Piastri, can he get past Antonelli as well? And can Antonelli hold on to an unlikely podium and an unlikely position ahead of Lewis Hamilton? That would be an absolute kick in the gut for Lewis Hamilton after looking so strong here this weekend. As Antonelli gets comfortably passed by Lando Norris into turn 1, and Lando Norris is now up into the lead of this race. Kimi saw him coming. He didn't fight too hard, and Lando Norris, with the fresher tyres, holds on to that position. Antonelli held it around the outside into turn 2, but he knows he doesn't have the grip, and also the win isn't a viable option really for Antonelli today. He has a completely different race on his hands. 25 laps remaining of this Hungarian Grand Prix. Lando Norris is your leader, 1.5 seconds ahead of Kimi Antonelli. Oscar Piastri now in P3, 5.5 seconds behind Kimi Antonelli. Will he be able to catch Kimi? I do think there's plenty of time. Will Hamilton be able to catch Kimi and get a podium? Will Verstappen be able to catch Lewis and maybe even Kimi on those soft compound tyres? But he has a long way to take those softs to the end of the race. 25 more laps. That will be 32 laps on this set of soft compound tyres. That is a tall order. Charles Leclerc, he is on the hard compound tyre. Max needs to be wary of the Ferrari of Charles behind as well. He is 1.3 seconds behind Max Verstappen. George Russell in P7. He's 16 places behind Charles Leclerc, and well, that is going to be pretty much all that he can hope for. He is 14.7 seconds ahead of Isaac Hadjar, and he is going to be eking out these hards to the end of the race after receiving anti-stall at the start and dropping all the way down to P20. Isaac Hadjar is P8 with Arvid Lindblad in P9. And, well, Bortoletto is trying to chase down Arvid Lindblad on fresher tyres. 9-lap fresher tyres than that of Arvid Lindblad. But he is he is chasing. He is closing him down, actually. Gabriel Bortoletto in P10 at the moment. Liam Lawson is on softs to the end of this race as well. He is going to try and trace down Bortoletto. He's 7.4 seconds behind Hulkenberg on softs. He's 1.5 seconds behind Liam Lawson. I think it looks like Hulkenberg might finish just a bit too short of the points once again. Gasly in P13. Alonso and Stroll in 14th and 15th respectively there on merit. Colapinto is P16. He's 4.8 seconds behind Lance Stroll. And Ocon is in P17. 12 seconds behind Colapinto. It's been a terrible day for Haas, as Ocon is 17th and Behrman is 20th. Albon is in 18th. Sainz 19th with a 5-second time penalty, as Behrman has been noted for ignoring blue flags. So his day could go from bad to worse. And he is only ahead of Sergio Perez in P21, with Bottas retired in 22nd. Track map's still not working. Just FYI, it is absolutely glitching all over the place still. So it is of no value to anyone at the moment. So that is why we have a change up of the screen. But we do have my commentary, the live data. I have live TV footage alongside me. And, well, we are keeping an eye out on things. So Albon and Sainz, 3 track limits violations for them at the moment. You can see the changing of the order there in the championship standings. No changes of actual positions in the standings if it was to finish as it is. Well, Antonelli, could he finish on the podium? Could he? As Hamilton is 3.2 seconds behind Piastri, 23 laps remaining. Antonelli is going to try and do this one stop. And Piastri is closing. But needs to get a move on, to be honest with you. Max Verstappen, a 23.922 last time around. And, well, that's only less than a tenth of a second separating Hamilton and Verstappen's lap time last time out. Does Verstappen have enough in those soft compound tyres to the end of this race? We will see. Why does Verstappen walk... why does it have a bad car? Like, genuinely, he should have left Red Bull. I don't think he should have left Red Bull at the moment. There's nowhere else for him to go at this moment in time. So that's why he's... that's why he's... He's there at the moment. Hang on a second. Yeah, track map's still not working, ladies and gents. Still not working. So, updates on the positions. Verstappen, that's a bit better from him last time out. A 23.783. That gap down to 5.8 seconds now to Lewis Hamilton, who is trying to gain time on Piastri as well. As Piastri is not looking like he's really making any ground up on Antonelli, as Antonelli did the identical lap time last time out, and he's got 11 lap older hard compound tyres, Kimi Antonelli. Piastri really needs to get a move on, doesn't he, to try and get a second place here. I do think he's a little bit rattled after that incident with Carlos Sainz, which has costed Carlos Sainz a 5-second time penalty. But importantly, it's cost Oscar Piastri potentially the win here today, as there's a radio message to Kimi Antonelli, which I'll relay to you now. As Kimi has been informed of track limits again. Track limits, of course, for Antonelli, as you can see there, two track limits violations to Kimi Antonelli. So he just has to dial it back a little bit, but they're not able to close in. I'm not understanding Ferrari's strategy today. Neither am I, to be honest with you as well. We will review everything after this race ends as well. As Lewis Hamilton, wow, what just happened there? Did Piastri just have a little moment? As it seems Piastri, that gap just jumped down to 2.7 seconds. Let's have a look at that last sector time as he is crossing the line there. It's a 24.4, or Lewis just turned up the heat in the middle sector, it seems, or that lap overall, a 24.786 compared to Piastri's 25.0. So Hamilton gaining a little bit of time there on that lap last time around. Has he just been saving a bit of tyres to try and ensure he gets to the end of this race? Of course, Max Verstappen closing down as well. There you can see green in the first sector, green in the second sector for Max Verstappen. Oscar done dirty by McLaren. I don't think he's been done dirty by McLaren at all. He came in, he got the first pit stop, as is normally the procedure for being the lead driver. Charles Leclerc, no further action for yellow flag infringement, as Carlos Sainz has been noted for serving his 5-second time penalty for causing a collision. So 4.4 seconds to gap to Piastri and Antonelli. He's not catching. As Leclerc says, he feels like there's something wrong with the car. Looks like overheating. You can get back into the rhythm. That should help. So Charles Leclerc, as he says, which rhythm, Charles Leclerc, to his engineer. So Charles Leclerc struggling with the performance of his Ferrari, and it seems like it's overheating. Lewis Hamilton 2.4 seconds behind Piastri at the moment. And well, you can see there that Piastri cannot match the time of Antonelli. Antonelli on 27 lap-old hards, 11 lap-old tyres, is not as quick as Piastri, although that last time around was better from Piastri. He took 0.4 of a second that time around out of Kimi Antonelli. 4.3 seconds is the gap. As Max is told, this is good, keep at it. You might have some fun toward the end. With 20 laps remaining, he's 4.6 seconds behind Lewis Hamilton. But Mercedes, I think, have pulled a blinder maybe with their strategy. There's still a very long way to go in this race. Will those hard compound tyres last to the end? It is going to be 48 laps on this set of hard compound tyres for Kimi Antonelli come the end of the race, as Ollie Bearman is going very slowly. He has a suspension issue. So, Ollie Bearman has an issue. Could we see a late safety car here? Where's Ollie Bearman going to be able to pull his car? He's currently dawdling through the middle sector. Ollie Bearman, we do not have the track map. He's trying to get it back to the pit lane. And, well, I think he's going to be... Is that Ollie Bearman or is that... No, sorry, I think that's Perez. No, it's Perez, sorry. It's the Cadillac. I get mixed up with the Haas and the Cadillac. So, Perez furiously checking his mirrors, and he's going to be bringing it back to the pit lane. And Sergio Perez is going to retire from this race. What has happened to Sergio Perez here? Has he gone over the curb and his suspension's gone? Oh, dearie me. Yeah, his suspension's just gone on the curb. He's front left, that Cadillac just breaking down again, as he did, similar to what happened, if you remember, in Canada, where it just decided to go pop on him. Well, it's gone pop on him here, and all he was doing was driving. So the Cadillac, that is going to be a second retirement for the Cadillacs here this weekend. Not a good time at the office with Sergio Perez. He's had brakes on fire in qualifying and then in practice, and he's had now a broken suspension. So Kimi Antonelli update here. 7.1 seconds to Lando Norris. Lando Norris seems to be comfortable here, leading to the end of this race. One of the fastest men out on track at the moment. He is the fastest man out on track at the moment. Even faster than Verstappen on a set of soft compound tyres. He's 23.7 last time out, whereas Verstappen did a 23.8 in P5. Antonelli 7.2 seconds behind, but importantly, he's just under 4 seconds ahead of Oscar Piastri with 19 laps remaining. But will his tyres last? Hamilton 2.1 seconds behind Piastri. And well, is Hamilton just hoping to maybe stay with Piastri and then catch Antonelli as well and try and close down this championship lead to the young Italian? Because as it stands, Antonelli would actually be gaining 6 points on Hamilton in this championship, and his points lead would be 51 points over 2 race wins heading into the summer break, which was a lot larger than the 34 points that Oscar Piastri had over his teammate Lando, who's winning this race at the moment this time last year. Caddy is learning. Their first season is an education. It is indeed. It is indeed. Right, guys. Right. If you've been, of course, we haven't got the track map. It's been completely skew-if today. If you've still enjoyed the commentary and what we've been able to provide with you today with all these technical issues, please hit that subscribe button. Trying to hit 90,000 subscribers. We are less than 800 subscribers away from achieving that milestone. It would be really, really appreciated. Reload track map. I have reloaded it a number of times. It is not an issue on my side, unfortunately. It is just something that cannot be resolved. Cadillac has the same reliability as the commuter cars. Thank you for the full 99 there. Go home. So, update here. 18 laps remaining. Lando Norris leads by 8.5 seconds from Antonelli. Antonelli has now done 30 laps on those hards, and Piastri only now is starting to eat into that gap to Kimi. 3.5 seconds. Hamilton 1.9 seconds behind Piastri as well. Verstappen closing down the gap on Lewis. He's 3.7 seconds. It could be a very, very entertaining closing few laps here of the Hungarian Grand Prix. Charles Leclerc, not the race that he was hoping for. P6 at the moment, down 4 places. He's 6.3 seconds behind Verstappen. He's just trying to bring that Ferrari home. Complaining there's overheating issues in that Ferrari. And well, he's 19, basically 20 seconds ahead of George Russell in P7. As Piastri gets ahead of Antonelli. They've called it. They've called it. Antonelli is pitting. So Antonelli, they can't make it to the end, and Antonelli is boxing. Antonelli says, why can't we go to the end? We don't think we have the tyre life. Press and hold boost. Antonelli asking, why can't we go to the end? And well, there we go. Antonelli, they've pulled the trigger there. I kind of agree with Antonelli. They don't think they'd have the tyre life. It would have been a tall order. 48 laps would have been the eventual tyre life on Antonelli. Would be the eventual distance that those hard compound tyres would have done. And of course, you are risking punctures and things like that. So I don't know. I need to see the state of those tyres to see whether it was viable or not. But that has released Oscar Piastri into P2. And well, Lewis Hamilton is now fighting for a podium. The podium positions are fully up for grabs here, I presume, between Piastri, Hamilton and Verstappen. That would have just released Piastri, of course. Lando Norris has just been told, you're clearly the fastest car and have nothing to prove. So the snaps in turn 4 and 8, no more from his engineer. Basically, rein it in as he has a 12-second lead over his teammate, Lewis Hamilton now. Well, he has 3 lap older tyres than Piastri. Does he have enough tyre life and advantage to close the gap on Piastri and get ahead of him? Max Verstappen, keep an eye on him, eating away at that gap on Lewis Hamilton as well. But as it stands, you can see the changes in the championship. No change in actual position in the championship standings. But Antonelli, if he finishes 6th, which I highly doubt he will, because he is going to be very, very quick now compared to Charles Leclerc. Charles Leclerc now kind of needs to do the teammate role and hold on to that position for as long as he possibly can to hold up Antonelli here in the overall grandstanding of the championship, because he will only gain 8 points. It's more likely that he's going to gain 10, as Charles Leclerc is a position ahead of him and he'll finish P5. Hamilton in P3 at the moment, but for how much longer, we don't know. He could gain 15 places as Russell's also pitting as well, so they think he can't take those tyres to the end of this race. Antonelli, 28.9, fastest first sector there out of anyone today on the brand new set of hards. So no one today able at the moment to achieve the one stop, unless your name is Lindblad and Bortoletto. Will they pit? It's going to be, I mean, and Lindblad's basically committed to the one stop now, as has Gabriel Bortoleto. If they pit, if Lindblad and Bortoleto pit, as they are catching them, Lawson will finish in the points and Hulkenberg will score his first point in Formula 1. They kind of still need to work together with 15 laps remaining here as they are catching both of their teammates. George Russell would be third in the championship, only 4 points gained if he finishes P8, which it seems likely he will do. He will be chasing down Isaac Hadjar over now. Norris will be gaining 25 points. As Antonelli says, which position are we? Currently P6, potential for P2. They think there's a potential for P2 here for Kimi Antonelli. Well, he's just done a 22.5 in that lap. They think he can make up that amount of time in 15 laps. We will see. As Hamilton gets past Piastri. What has happened to Piastri there? Something major. Has he gone off as Piastri has an issue? He's down into P4. Has he gone deep into the first corner? There's a yellow flag. Is it Piastri here who has brought out the yellow flag? I'm not entirely sure. Oh, dearie me. Piastri has an issue. He's going slow. Oh, my goodness. Yellow flag. Piastri is dawdling around the circuit at the moment, and there's a VSC. A VSC has been deployed. Piastri has pulled his car over between turn 3 and 4. He's lost the gearbox. He's absolutely fuming in the cockpit at that McLaren. And we have a VSC. Marshall's on track. Will anyone be able to benefit from this VSC now? Kimi has just pitted. He's just pitted here. And he's going to lose out, Kimi Antonelli, I think. As no doubt, Norris is pitting. Hamilton will pit. Verstappen will pit. Will Verstappen pit? He'll probably hold on to track position. Hamilton will probably pit here. Undoubtedly, let's see how it will last a little while. And he just lost gears. The gearbox gone on him. Deary me. Hamilton into the pits. As Verstappen will probably stay out. Is he going to pit as well? Verstappen stays out and holds on to P2. But he will now be at the disadvantage as he will be on 18-lap-old soft compound tyres with 14 laps remaining. Is he going to go on to the mediums? As Antonelli comes out ahead of Lewis Hamilton. And well, that switches up the championship here as Hamilton is on the sauce to the end of this race. He is going to have to get... It's going to be brand new hards against brand new softs. And oh, Hamilton gets ahead of Antonelli down into turn 1. I need to see it back, of course. You only then have to hit the brakes as you exit past the pit line, which is at the end, down into turn 1. As Hamilton did stay ahead of Kimi Antonelli there. Wow, so Hamilton and Ferrari, great pit stop for them. Leclerc is going to be on the attack now as the VSC is ending and we are back racing again. A great pit stop there from Ferrari. We questioned their strategy earlier on, but they've fallen on the right side of the VSC just like they did in Spa a week ago. And well, Hamilton, he'll be looking at his rearview mirrors of Kimi Antonelli. They're on the same age of tyre life, but Hamilton's on the softs and Antonelli is on the hards. Hamilton will now have to overturn a 9-second gap to Max Verstappen in 14 laps and overtake him. We will see how this fares. I'm watching the replay of Lewis Hamilton on Kimi Antonelli. And I'm watching it and... Oh, I think Lewis will have to concede that position to Kimi. Oh, I think Lewis is going to have to give that position. Oh, I don't know. Was he ahead or not? It seems close. Hang on, waiting to see. No, is he? Is he ahead or not? I don't know. Oh. We'll see, but it depends on the delta. Of course, it also depends. Yes, Lewis has been told to give the position back, which he has done. So Lewis has given the position back. He was slightly behind, and Lewis is now going to have to get past Antonelli. P1 and P2 in the Drivers' Championship are fighting it out for the podium positions, and this favours Max Verstappen, of course, as he will last a bit longer on those soft compound tyres. Lando Norris on the softs now to the end of this race. He's 6 seconds ahead of Max Verstappen, but Hamilton It's hards versus softs. We know how it ended all the way back in 2021. Of course, hards versus softs, but they're on the same age of tyre. They're on a completely different race circuit at a different stage of a season. You have one of the oldest drivers on the track versus the youngest driver on the track. The new potential future of Formula One, Kimi Antonelli. He's just done the fastest lap of the race at 22.415 ahead of Lewis Hamilton. He's on brand new hards. Hamilton is on brand new softs. And, well, Lewis's time there, of course, slower there because he had to leave the gap to, he had to get the position to Kimi Antonelli. But this is going to be very interesting. Kimi Antonelli, could he finish on the podium? He's the second youngest. Lindblad is the youngest. Apologies. These young whippersnappers, 18, 19. It's still young in my eyes. It's a 34-year-old man. I know I don't look it, guys. But we are in for a very entertaining last 12 laps of this race. Charles Leclerc does the fastest lap of the race there at 22.0, but he's in P5 on his own. Hamilton, 0.4 of a second closing down every single corner on Kimi Antonelli, where those softs have that extra level of grip. And Antonelli also closing down the gap there on Max Verstappen. Under 8 seconds is the gap now. They don't want to, of course, Hamilton fighting for that podium. He wants to go into this summer break at least closing down the gap to Kimi Antonelli, even if it is only by 3 points. He doesn't want, at this race weekend, where he has been strong, where he felt he has been the quickest driver, to allow Kimi, who started P7, well, he started P5, to finish ahead of him and extend this championship lead, which he would do by 3 points, 15 to 12. You can see there the championship standings as they are basically very, very close out on track at the moment. Lewis Hamilton trying to stay very close to Kimi Antonelli as Hamilton does the fastest first sector at 22.3 last time out, whereas Antonelli did a 22.4. We saw Lewis Hamilton get stuck behind Max Verstappen in the first part of this race on the soft compound tyre compared to mediums, but this is soft versus hards. They are closing down the gap to Verstappen as well, 7.4 seconds, but this is a battle for the overall championship. Every point could matter come the end of the season, with reliability and so forth being an issue, as we know. As Hamilton loses a bit of time there, he's down to 1 second behind Kimi Antonelli. 1.2 seconds behind Kimi now. Of course, he needs to stay within that 1 second range to be able to get the overtake mode available. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. By the way, if you can hit that subscribe button, we are nearly at 89,300 subscribers. We're trying to get to 90 by the end of this stream. You can do it within 11 laps. This is going to be a very, very entertaining end of this race. That is for sure, everyone. Thank you. Oh my goodness, Hamilton went very wide through turn 3, so that's why he lost a bit of time there, Lewis. Hang on. Hang on, let's have a look here at Lewis Hamilton. So down into turn 3, and Lewis went very deep into turn 3. And nearly lost the rear. So he's going to have to cool down those softs a little bit, and he's going to have to come back at Kimi Antonelli. That is why that gap is 1.7 seconds at the moment. So he is going to have to recoup Lewis Hamilton. He has 10 laps remaining to be able to catch and overtake Kimi. He was on the rear, but that dirty air going deep into the brakes, pushing a bit too hard. And he currently is P4 with Antonelli looking to finish on the podium once again here this weekend. Ferrari indeed has an idiot engineer and more team manager. I'm still not entirely sure. As Norris says, just keep an eye on these punches, please. With the aim of with this overtaking, I am not entirely sure what Lando Norris was saying there. Just saying, keep an eye out on punctures and so forth with debris and that. And with as Hamilton's been noted for speeding in the pit lane. Oh, dearie me. Don't tell me he's going to get a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane and finish behind his teammates. Oh, my goodness. Imagine that. Another penalty for Lewis Hamilton. That would be his 4th penalty in 3 races if Lewis gets a penalty. We will see. As Hamilton says, is everything all good? All good with the car on our side. So it must just be the tyres there for Lewis Hamilton. Did he release his pit speed limiter a bit too early, Lewis Hamilton? And that's why, obviously, in the attempts to try and stay ahead of Kimi Antonelli in this race, of course, he had to concede the position anyway, but we will see. Charles Leclerc will be fully aware of that. And could Lewis Hamilton finish behind Charles Leclerc, his teammate, again in the 3rd successive race? And he'll lose even more ground on Kimi Antonelli. He's losing a bit of time at the moment with those scrub tyres after that incident, near incident into turn 3. But he needs to recover some pace here on those tyres. Let them cool down, which I presume he's doing, and stay ahead. We'll keep an eye on whether that penalty is going to be coming Lewis Hamilton's way. Lando Norris also on 2 track limits violations, and reconfirmation there of Lewis Hamilton speeding in the pit lane. Max dropping back as it's to save the tyres, or the tyres are gone. I think as the V-Carbs are fighting it out. 2 for now, by the way, ladies and gents, as Hulkenberg finds himself in P10. But the V-Carbs, once again, are fighting each other, and Lindblad is getting his elbows out on his teammate. It's 40-lap-old hard compound tyres versus 18-lap-old softs, and Hulkenberg is waiting in the wings patiently for that maybe to pick up more than just a single point, as Hulkenberg is 4 seconds ahead of Gabriel Bortoleto. We'll keep an eye on that battle, but once again these V-Carbs are fighting hard. Great to see Lindblad and Lawson fighting for their seats, with Nicolas Solov waiting in the wings. Lando Norris 9 seconds ahead of Antonelli. Antonelli is losing a bit of ground now to Hamilton. Hamilton, where we go, called off those tyres, and he's now back within 1 second of Kimi Antonelli, and closing at a whole rate of knots there into the back straight. 8/10 of a second he has just gained in that last sector. He's just gained 1.3 seconds over Kimi Antonelli in that lap alone, as Lawson is all over the rear of David Lindblad down into turn 1, and Lawson stays ahead, but for how long does Lindblad have the grip? We know he's not going to give it up easy, and it does seem like Lawson finally gets David Lindblad, and well, it could be that he's now going to try and get ahead of him, as it's Antonelli getting held up by traffic that has allowed Hamilton to get ahead and close up the gap there. Antonelli has just hit the iRacing blue flags in this Hungary circuit there, as drivers are making very, very wide moves, almost going off circuit, to allow Kimi P1 and P2 in this Drivers' Championship to continue this battle with 8 laps remaining, as Hamilton is all over the rear of Kimi Antonelli, but there's not very many opportunities to overtake in that middle sector, and Antonelli is now looking in his rearview mirrors of the Ferrari of Lewis Hamilton, and of course Lewis may be penalised for speeding in the pit lane. I presume the FIA are waiting to see how this battle unfolds before they issue a penalty, as they tend to do, as Charles Leclerc all the while is closing up as well, and Lewis needs to get ahead of Kimi and pull out a gap, you do presume, if he has spent in the pit lane. Otherwise he could be finishing in P5, and this battle could be all for naught. As Verstappen, 10 seconds, 6.5 seconds ahead of Antonelli. He is safe in P2, you presume. It's all about down into turn 1, maybe for Lewis Hamilton. That's where the move can be achieved, as Hulkenberg is side by side with Lindblad there. Look at Hulkenberg and Lindblad. Is Hulkenberg going to get ahead of David Lindblad? No, he's not. He stays in P10 for now, but he gets ahead of Lindblad, and he's up into P9. Hulkenberg is going to score his first points of the season with 7 laps remaining. That's all he needs to navigate. Could it be more? Could he catch Lawson? We will see. Norris P1, Verstappen P2, Antonelli P3, Hamilton all over the rear of the hard compound tyres of Kimi Antonelli in that middle sector, but unable to close up really when it matters. They're approaching this battle now of Liam Lawson, Nico Hulkenberg and David Lindblad. They have separated out. Lindblad's still doing a tremendous job on 42-lap-old hards, and he's going to have to fight tooth and nail to get to hold off Gabriel Bortoleto, who has closed up a little bit to Lindblad there because he was letting through Lewis Hamilton and Kimi Antonelli as they make their way through the last sector. As I'm watching the TV images now, Hamilton trying to apply the pressure on this 19-year-old Italian who leads the championship and is on course to extend his championship lead by 3 points at the moment. 15 points gained to Lewis Hamilton's 12. It could be even more if Lewis Hamilton receives a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. We have 6 laps remaining. Lando first, Verstappen second, a brilliant drive from Verstappen, 26-lap-old softs in a car that really has no right to be on the podium from the way it looks like it handles this weekend, as Hamilton is just not close enough to Antonelli out of the last corner, and Antonelli gets a bit of slipstream and tow from the Audi of Nico Hulkenberg, but Hamilton swiftly gets past him as well. They'll have Liam Lawson up ahead as Hamilton has a bit of smoke or dust come out of the back of his car there. I think that was just a bit of dust or brake dust out of the back of Lewis Hamilton's car there. I thought that was the Ferrari engine for just a moment, but you can see the extra level of grip that Hamilton has through the corners compared to Antonelli on the hard compound tyres, but Antonelli is ahead where it matters at the moment. So Leclerc is now 5.1 seconds 5 seconds. He's teetering on that 5-second range to Lewis Hamilton. And, well, if there was a 5-second time penalty, could Charles finish ahead of Lewis Hamilton? It looks like that way if Hamilton's unable to get past with 5 laps remaining. Where is this attack? You feel like there's one opportunity as Hamilton does get a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Oh, it's 4 penalties in 3 races for Lewis Hamilton, and he's got a 5-second time penalty, and now he is on course to finish behind his teammate in this race as Charles Leclerc is right on that 5-second gap to his teammate. Hamilton, he needs to get ahead of Kimi Antonelli. You presume if he gets ahead of Kimi, he could pull out a big gap pretty quickly, but he's unable to do so. And at the moment, it's more so about solidifying this P4 so that he doesn't lose more ground to Antonelli in this championship. Normally, it's a slam dunk. I need to see, of course, the steward's report afterwards to see exactly if he did speed, but normally it is a slam dunk penalty. Unless it is back into in Monaco. Of course, Lewis Hamilton will be wanting to reset and ensure he has no more penalties for the rest of this season. Imagine what his championship standings could look like. The gap now to Antonelli could look like without the penalties. He has been accosted the last 3 races, but if he sped in the pit lane, there's nothing he could complain about there. Of course, he was trying to stay ahead of Kimi Antonelli. He had to give the position back anyway because he was not far enough ahead at the end of the pit lane exit. And, well, he is fighting tooth and nail to try and get ahead of Kimi Antonelli. But even though he is on soft compound tyres, 2 steps softer than that of Kimi Antonelli, was on the hard compound tyre, he is unable to get ahead of him. And Charles Leclerc is within that 5-second range of Hamilton, and he is going to be fully aware of that. And Charles Leclerc, even though his race has not been great at all, it looks like he's going to finish ahead of his teammate. Deary me, deary me. Lewis was desperate in trying to stay ahead. Of course he was. And it looks like he maybe released the pit lane limiter just a bit too early. And that is why he has received a penalty there. But there is still, with 4 laps remaining, an opportunity for him to hold on to this position. Charles Leclerc, 4.7 seconds. Charles Leclerc would gain an extra 2 points on his teammate, as he would get 12 points compared to Lewis Hamilton's 10. And Lewis would still be second in the championship, but Kimi Antonelli would gain 5 points over Lewis Hamilton. That gap would go to 50 points exactly in the championship compared to Lewis Hamilton, and he will head into the summer break with 2 race wins, a much larger gap than the 34 points that Piastri had over his teammate this time last year. And, well, you would be a very, very brave man to bet against Kimi Antonelli converting this championship come the end of the season. I don't want to see Ferrari bring Lewis in the VSC again. So, yes, there we go. But thank you, everyone, for tuning in. By the way, hit that like and subscribe button. The track map has been completely useless today, so apologies for that. The track map data is still completely all over the place, jumping, not of any relevance to us. That's hence why we just have the live data and the commentary. We're very fortunate that we still have the timing tower and the live times as it stands. But Antonelli catching Max Verstappen with 3 laps remaining, but he's going to fall short. Max is going to finish P2, it seems. Hamilton is P4, but he's fallen short of Kimi Antonelli. He is just 4.9 seconds ahead of Charles Leclerc. It is teetering on that 5-second range to his teammate, which he currently has a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Deary me, deary me, what a race this has been. I'm hot and sweaty. Because of this race back, Gabriel Bortoleto is closing in on Arvid Lindblad. It's very close at the end here for Gabriel Bortoleto. Can he overtake Arvid Lindblad in the last couple of laps here and get a double point scoring race for Audi? It will be their first of the season if Bortoleto is able to overtake Arvid Lindblad. The Arvid Lindblad, of course, looking to try and score 5 points, his fifth consecutive race in a row where he is in the points, and he is going to fight tooth and nail for that as well. Hamilton, update on him, falling back from Kimi Antonelli. Those soft compound tyres have come to an end, and Charles, with just 2 laps remaining, we're on the penultimate lap of this race, is 4.3 seconds behind his teammate. Is Lewis Hamilton going to be able to hold on to P4 here? I don't think he'll be able to, but we will see. As Lewis is told, we got a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Handing out penalties like crazy, Hamilton says on the radio. And that is really the most amount of emotion that we normally see from Lewis Hamilton. Not happy with the penalty. We need to see if he actually sped in the pit lane or not. It will be analysed, of course. Stay tuned to after the race has ended, and we will see whether or not it was justified. Normally it is a slam dunk. No, Russell closing in very close on on Isaac Hadjar here in the closing stages. Hamilton 4.2 seconds ahead of Charles Leclerc. Unless he has a stonker of a last lap, it is going to be a P5 for Lewis Hamilton. Bortoletto still trying to apply the pressure on Arvid Lindblad. We're on a penultimate lap of this race. Lando Norris leads by 14.2 seconds from Max Verstappen. Kimi Antonelli P3 as it stands. A great P3. How has he finished P3 here? How is he going to finish P3? I do not know. Hamilton 1.1 seconds, and there we go. Leclerc is now even under 4 seconds, around the 4-second mark of Lewis Hamilton, and we are on the final lap of this Hungarian Grand Prix. It's been a difficult day at the office for myself and for many drivers out there on circuit. Piastri has retired from this race after leading for so long with a gearbox issue. The McLarens still having reliability issues, but it could have been so much more different for Oscar Piastri if he didn't have that collision with Carlos Sainz and Norris was able to do the overcut. If, of course, his gearbox didn't falter, it could have been a comfortable 1-2 for the McLarens, but alas, it isn't, and Norris is about to win his first race of the year. The worst world champion, the worst defending world champion, many have suggested this year. Well, I'll tell you what, when he's had the car underneath him, he has provided, and he is providing today as Bortoletto is given a black and white flag for track limits as he's pushing to the very end here to try and score a point, a first double points for Audi, but Lindblad on 48 lap old hards is going to hold on here, it seems. We will see. But Lando Norris, he only has a couple more one more sector to contend with. And Lando Norris, your defending world champion, crosses the line and wins the Hungarian Grand Prix. He started on pole. He didn't lead from lights out to checkered flag, but he showed he had the pace. And, well, we saw a defending world champion performance and pace there. Max Verstappen comes across the line in P2, and Antonelli is about to score a very, very well-deserved P3, an unlikely P3, as confirmation there of Hamilton finishes in P5 behind his teammates. After all that, another penalty, 4 penalties in 3 races for Lewis Hamilton. How different the last 3 race weekends could have been for Hamilton. He is now 50 points behind Antonelli in the Drivers' World Championship. Charles Leclerc closes up 2 points on his teammate. He is in P4 still. Isaac Hadjar finishes in P6. George Russell finishes in P7. After having anti-stall and finishing in P12, going down to P20 at 1 point. And then we have Liam Lawson. He's failed to score points last time around in Spa. He's back in P8, best of the rest. Nico Hülkenberg scores his first points of the season. Nico Hülkenberg, a great drive from him. P9. Just like London buses, you wait for one for ages and then 2 come along at once as Nico Hülkenberg scores 2 points and moves up into 18th in the driver's standings there. Confirmation. Gabriel Bortoletto just falls short of scoring Audi's first double points as he is less than a second behind Arvid Lindblad, who did 49 laps on the hards, and they were the only two drivers who did the one stop today. Valiant effort from both of those drivers. Gasly finishes 12th. Stroll and Alonso finished 13th and 14th. 14th and 15th if you remove Piastri's issue there, but that is a very, very good result, finishing ahead of Colapinto on merit, finishing ahead of both Williams and finishing ahead of both Haases today. Very, very good drive from Stroll and Alonso. Colapinto 15th, Ocon 16th, Albon 17th, Sainz 18th, Behrman 19th, Piastri in 20th because he finished out because he had that gearbox issue. Perez 21st and Bottas 22nd. Constructors' Championship. Let's have a look at those Constructors' Championship there, and well, Ferrari gain a point. They gain a point. Let's do our driver of the day. As Max says, how we got second today, that is unbelievable. Let's go Norris. Let's go Hulkenberg. Let's go Antonelli. Oh, actually, did we go Antonelli? Trying to see who had good races here. So we got Antonelli. Actually, I think Norris. I think Verstappen, to be fair. I think Antonelli and Verstappen. So there you go. Get your votes in for driver of the day. Lawson, I think he had a good drive. I don't think he's driver of the day. I do think Antonelli, have a look at where they finished. I think Antonelli had a better drive today, finishing in P3. I think Max had a tremendous drive. I actually am going to... I'm going to give it to Max. That's my driver of the day. Oh, no, actually. Oh, or is it Hulkenberg for scoring that point? Because I feel like Max doesn't deserve. I mean, that Red Bull doesn't deserve to be second right now. And I do think that is because Max drove brilliantly. Equally, Hulkenberg has scored his first points. And even with the retirement of Piastri, that still would have been a point because he would have finished P10. So he executed that well. Oh, I don't know. I do think Max. I think Max because that is... This whole weekend, Max... But that car was just wanted to point anywhere but forward, basically. And for him to be able to finish second, he even said it himself on the radio. How have we just finished second? This is a Rode pod mic. Rode pod mic, USB version. Hadjar Dragonette tractor. No, because Hadjar finished 31 seconds behind Hamilton. That's a large gap. That's a very large gap. He's finished 40 seconds behind his teammate. So that shows a different level of performance, doesn't it? Hamilton should have just stayed in front of Antonelli and made a gap. Yeah, but he would have... you could say that. Yeah, because it's 10... But it would have been 10-second time penalty. Would he have gained 10 seconds? Probably. Yeah, probably. And then... He's got the fight. So he would have had to have made 15 seconds up on Antonelli. In clean air, he probably could do that. I do wonder, yeah. Actually, now I'm thinking about it. Should he have given that position up? Should he have just like held on to it? And then he just pulls out the gap. Oh, thank you guys. That was hard work today. If you can hit the subscribe button, please. We've fallen short of the 90,000. Understandable, of course, with the technical issues that we had today. Again, that's the second time this season with the live data that we've had technical issues outside of my control. But yeah, well, we did our best. I'm all hot and bothered now because of it. So, get your votes in. Driver of the day, Max Verstappen, 45%, Norris, 28%, 29%, Hulkenberg, 14%, Antonelli, 13%. It was a very good... I enjoyed the race. How has Kimi Antonelli extended his championship lead, though? Wild. I still need to... We need to sit here. What was Ferrari's strategy about today, by the way? What was that about? That was ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Like, I don't understand why they brought him in so early on those hards. It was just, yeah, bizarre. I don't know what the Ferrari strategy was. Very, very strange. Trying to, hang on, see if there's anything from the stewards' reports. Ferrari did not understand the tyres today. No, I don't think they did. Yeah, I really don't think they did. Max just saying, once you get clean air, it was just like night and day. And that's so true. Yeah, I think, could Lewis have pulled out a 15-second gap on Kimi, who was on hards? Maybe. Yeah, maybe. Well done for getting through the race with all the technical issues and watchers wanting the kitchen sink shown while it... yeah. It's tricky when it all that. It was more so, I wouldn't have been so flustered if Multiviewer didn't just completely reset itself. Like, I'm now going to have to go back and do... I think I've got to go back and do all of the colour choices again. I've got to, like... It's just a bit of faff, that's all. It's really frustrating. And I don't know why it did that. Yeah, all my colour customizations have disappeared and been deleted. I don't know. Frustrating. Oh, thank you though, everyone. Thank you. How long is the summer break? So our next race is the 21st of the weekend of the 21st of August. So that is the Netherlands Zandvoort, and it is a sprint race weekend, ladies and gents. So remember that. 21st of August. I will have content coming your way. I've got driver ratings coming up later on this evening. That's going to be an interesting one. Driver ratings. And yeah. I thought it was very, very interesting today. The approach of both Piastri and Norris on the radio. Norris was very bold on the radio. Almost like borderline, not aggressive, but very confident on the radio. He was trying to force the issue. Get Piastri out of my way. What are we doing here? I've got the pace. Why can't I attack? Why can't we do this? Why can't we do that? And I totally agree with him. And I'd agree, obviously, on Oscar's side as well. Not when he was asking for that change of position and taking into consideration the sign situation. That's an overhang of papaya rules. But you don't need papaya rules right now. They're not fighting for a world championship. And who knows, this might be the only race this year where they're able to win. I don't think it will be. But let them fight. Let them try a difference in strategy on either side of the garage. Especially if they are still comfortable that they can get a 1-2, which they were going to, I think, easily get today. Thank you for the 10 gifted, Jarvis. Much appreciated. Thank you. I'm going to end the poll of driver of the day. And, well, it is unanimous that Max Verstappen has won driver of the day. 44% of the vote. Lando Norris, 29%. Antonelli, 14%. I can't believe Hulkenberg's only got 13%. How has Hulkenberg come last there in that vote? Summer break is going to be long and tortuous, but a well-deserved rest for the drivers. Kimi forever. It will be long. I think it will go quick, though. It will go quick. I've got some content coming out for you all, of course. We're going to do a mid-season review. We're going to have a look at the who has been the best performing driver, of course. We're going to tally up all of our driver ratings and have a look at do the average of who has been the best, because it's not just recency bias. We can have a look at that. So there'll be some content myself coming your way. Mid-season SF23. I'm going to try, Mike. I'm quite busy in this next month. I've got, as I said, I've got some family events to attend. My best mate's getting married. Me and the missus are spending some time with friends as well. But yeah, I like the aggressiveness of Lando on the radio. Like, let them fight. Do it. Guys said, watch me gap Oscar by 10 seconds on weaker tyres. Although he would have come out behind Piastri. But it was, that comment was very much like, oh, that's the words of a world champion. Ferrari are effing Hamilton over. They effed up his qualifying. They effed up by putting, and they didn't tell Leclerc to increase the gaps. Do Ferrari want to win the championship? I do sit there and think that. I know, obviously, because technically speaking, Charles is still mathematically in the championship, right? He's gained 2 points on Hamilton there. So that gap now, 169 to Hamilton's 138. It's 31 points, right? Is the gap to Leclerc and Hamilton. But ultimately, in the grand scheme of things, you shouldn't be sitting there as Ferrari. And I'd be saying this if it's Hamilton and Leclerc as well. As much as it hurt me, because I am more preferable over Hamilton than Leclerc. But do you want to win a world championship? It's similar. It's very similar. I feel like Ferrari, of course, there aren't any papaya rules in play. There aren't scarlet rules in play. But there are... Like, you have to sit here and go, okay, well, do you think you can win the world championship? Also, do you want to win the world championship? And do you want to allow Antonelli to steal even more of a championship lead on you here this weekend? Coming into it, you would have said no. Of course not. Hamilton definitely doesn't. Charles definitely doesn't. And what they've allowed today is they've allowed Kimi Antonelli again to get an unlikely podium and still increase his lead into the summer break via strategy. Strategy was very poor. And, okay, Charles Leclerc fans won't like it, but you could tell Charles, drop back beyond 5 seconds because we want to minimise the gap. We want to minimise the points advantage that Antonelli's going to get over us overall. And that means overall, as in Hamilton, because he's currently the lead Ferrari driver. If you think that because Hamilton and Leclerc, yes, Leclerc technically still isn't out of it, there's still a possibility of him turning this around. Of course he can. But Antonelli's gained 3 points on him. Antonelli's gained 5 points on Hamilton. It's just extended his championship lead overall. And I think Ferrari are potentially, obviously with how long they leave it, they have the potential of falling into the trap that McLaren did and not taking action of going, okay, we'd rather be fairer to our drivers than win a world championship. I think that's the attitude they're kind of falling into. Team orders favour team points, not drivers. Driver champion is not worth as much as team points sometimes. But Lewis, well, yeah, but how lucrative would a championship be for Ferrari? I disagree with that because Ferrari haven't won a Drivers' World Championship since Kimi Raikkonen in 2007. So that's 20 years next year, but they have not won a Drivers' Championship. That isn't acceptable for a team of Ferrari stature and history. They're not McLaren. Do I think George's future could look like Daniel's? Maybe. I think it could look maybe more like Bottas's. I think he's fallen into the Bottas role. Should Antonelli have stuck with the one pit strat he could have benefited with? I need to have a look back at the data. I don't know. He would have done, by the end of it, he would have done 48 laps. Limblad did 49 and he was doing 28.8. Now, Antonelli is obviously a lot faster than that. But I don't know. I think he probably would have been caught. I think he could have very well just ended up where he finished. P3 in the end. But I think the problem is you don't know if those tyres are going to last that long. That's the thing. They're like that's the problem. Also, Charles finishing behind Lewis Hamilton would still have been the same points team-wise. Yeah, I don't know. The longer it goes on, I just don't think they will. As I said, team orders now these days, with fan bases online, with social media, they're very aware of the bad PR it kind of gets for favouring one driver over another. But, I mean, look, Red Bull did it always with Max Verstappen. And now it's just seen as normal when Hadjar gives him the toe that he did in Spa. No one bats an eyelid at it. They know Max is the number one driver. Of course, fan bases are always going to support their driver and want them to be the number one driver and stuff. But this is the thing now, is that teams don't want to favour a driver unless they're mathematically out of it. Lawson moves to 9th, Racing Bulls to 5th. Yeah, let's have a look at those championship standings again. Yeah, Lawson up ahead of Gasly finally. And Racing Bulls are finally ahead of Alpine. 66 points to 61. Can the team do testing during the summer break? So the only testing that they can do is if they do use their filming days. So they have 200 kilometres of filming days to use. And some of them have used them, some of them haven't. So that's throughout the whole year as well. That's not just like in one go. So yeah, I presume some teams will do that in the summer break. Ferrari historically has been a team that favours team over driver. Are you sure, Justin? Historically, maybe in the last 15 years, not in the last... Well, to be fair, they haven't done that since Charles came in. Since Charles came in, they always had a number one driver. Always. And then Charles joined, and Charles was kind of like Vettel was the #1 driver, but then Charles was like the Kimi of now, and he upset the apple cart, and then he took over and became the #1 driver because Kimi Raikkonen came back in for a couple of years, and then they brought Sainz in, and then they had this equal treatment with Sainz and Leclerc, and now Hamilton, same thing with Hamilton and Leclerc, they've been treated as equal, but Charles is still like the main Ferrari man because he's been there longer, and this is kind of like the situation they've fallen into, is that someone is outperforming Charles and they don't know what to do in relation to when the last 3 weekends have gone to shit for him, how to kind of deal with it. I'm not saying obviously Lewis should have finished ahead of Charles in Spa, because it was messy. Silverstone, same thing, but I'm saying there was an opportunity if they really wanted to. But if you wanted to find a way, there was a way to be done to move Hamilton instead of Leclerc. I'm not saying that was the right time to do it. And then here, you could comfortably say, if you think that was, once again, I'll bring up Max. If that was Max, do you think, and Hadjar, and Max was in the position Hamilton is in right now, do you think they would have told Hadjar to close the gap up on Hamilton? No, they would have told Hadjar, drop back. I need another 600 odd subs. That's a lot of subs. But yeah, thank you everyone for tuning in. Nobody talking about the absolute blinder. Aston Paul from reportedly only doing 2 seconds to now jumping ahead of Haas, Cadillac and Williams. I think that's a great performance from Aston. Yeah, definitely deserves credit. It was 14th and 15th if you remove put Piastri back in there because they gained from Piastri. But they were there on merit. And Stroll, look, he finished ahead of Alonso. That's a great result from Stroll. And he was on older soft compound tyres as well. So great effort. I mean, difference in strategy for them. Stroll went short in the first stint. Alonso went long. So difference in strategy. It worked out for Stroll in the end because he went long at the end rather than long in the first stint. But they were only separated by 2 seconds from each other. They finished 22 seconds ahead of Colapinto. They finished 10 seconds behind Gasly. They finished 10 seconds behind an Alpine. How good's that? How good's that? They only finished, what's that, 11 or so seconds behind, 12 seconds or so behind the points. That's not bad. Considering where they have been, that's a massive improvement. Let's not forget Lewis got 3 points for not getting a 5-second time penalty in Spa. Instead, he got a reprimand. What won the 5-second time penalty in Spa? He got a 5-second time penalty in Spa, didn't he? But he shouldn't have even got a penalty for it because it was a racing incident. Very impressed by the midfield, especially Lawson, Bortoletto and Lindblad. Yeah, Bortoletto's on a good run of form. Lawson and Lindblad are just performing so well, aren't they? Like, you can say, yes, they're the fastest car in the midfield at the moment, but I think they are definitely having to work for it, and they are converting it as well. But you can say, like, they're not just qualifying well and then falling back and making mistakes. No, they're converting it, and we know that's tough in F1. Charles Leclerc has been there longer, 6 years, 0 championships. Win, what's that? 4 SF. Lewis joins after just 1 season. He's helping them build a world-class car. Charles Leclerc is now doubting his old brakes. Yeah, look, I'm not going to completely have, like, I do rate Charles Leclerc as a driver. I think he's very quick. Proof will be in the pudding when he's actually able to challenge for a world title. But his wins, like, he should have more wins, but I'm not going to... Obviously, his pole to win conversion rate is poor because Ferrari have provided cars that have only been good over a single lap rather than a whole race distance, especially in an era when Max Verstappen and Red Bull were massively dominant. So I think his pole to win conversion ratio is, like, at face value, yeah, it looks bad, but when you actually know the context behind it all, like, it's not his fault. But he is, obviously, this year, the first time, other than Sainz, who he still thought he had a measure of, this year, he finds himself being outperformed by Hamilton. And I still think the last 3 races, Hamilton has been the quicker driver. But in the last 3 races, he's ended up finishing behind him. That's Formula 1 for you. That's motor racing. Thank you, Armin. Much appreciated. The gap is killing you here. What, this gap? Sorry. What, the... my stream is all over the place. I'm not going to lie to you. It's... Yeah. It's because, obviously, we had... You're just ending the stream! Oh, that's all I need is a cat. Is the stream still live? My goodness, this stream has not gone to plan. Cat just leaped from absolutely nowhere onto my keyboard. My goodness. All right, we're still live. We're still live. Good, good. Honestly. Right. One question: do you think Antonelli can get back and win over McLaren and Ferrari? Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Yeah, I think so. I think, look, you've got to remember this. I mean, Zandvoort, I expect them to be strong at again. I mean, will McLaren... I think McLaren and Ferrari will be strong again at... Hang on, let's have a look. I think they'll be strong at Zandvoort. I think they will. They'll be strong at Zandvoort because it's similar kind of cornering. Lots of, like, medium length corners. Longer corners for them to go through, and that will favour Ferrari and McLaren again. So I think that performance will be close. And then where do we head after that? Then we got Monza. That's a Mercedes track all over. Spain, we head to the Madrid ring, which could be anyone. Like, that could be anyone's, to be honest with you. So yeah, there will be. Oh, they're posting. I'm waiting for Lewis Hamilton's infringement, by the way. Kimi will want Monza desperately. Oh, yeah. And he will 100% like win that. Need to see what the move as well was, by the way, for Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen. I need to re-see that. PU penalties in the second half of the season could save Ferrari in the constructors, but it'll be close. Yeah, look, I still think Kimi is just comfortably going to win this now, unless Lewis Hamilton gets some, like a lot of luck. His luck changes on the other side of things. Like, of course, you can still be unlucky and receive penalties that were justified, but obviously those penalties have been costly. Like after the next half of the season, second half of the season, I mean, having 4 penalties in 3 race weekends, where arguably you've been the fastest car, or one of the fastest cars, is mad. The fact of it, he's finished 4th, 5th, and 3rd. 3rd, 4th, and 5th in the last 3 races is pretty wild, really. Pretty wild. Luna is my cat's name. Do I think Norris, Leclerc, maybe even Max can catch up to the championship battle if they continue this pace? So Norris is 128. He is currently 40 points behind Hamilton. I mean, never say never. But I don't know. I don't see McLaren... I mean, maybe McLaren could, but they still have a lot of reliability issues. You saw today from Piastri. They just seem to be too flaky with their reliability. Ferrari definitely seem to be the best when it comes to reliability. I don't see them overall catching, no. I mean, Max is 110 points behind. It is also dependent on Kimi. Like, Kimi at the moment, let's be real, Russell doesn't look like he's going to take points off Kimi. So you're then having to rely on Hamilton to take points off him, and you see the run of form that he's been on, even though his pace has been good. Charles, could he? Maybe. Norris, yes, but then no, I don't see any one of those drivers like taking the ball by the horns other than Kimi Antonelli and winning 3-4 races in a row. And that's what you need. You need to win 3-4 races in a row to kind of get back into this championship, and even then Kimi could quite probably comfortably finish P2. I mean, this weekend he had no right really kind of to finish P3. He had no right. I do think it was handed to him somewhat by Ferrari, particularly from Lewis's side of the garage, and Piastri, lucky with Piastri's retirement as well, has promoted him. So yeah, how he's finished on the podium still Like that, but that is what champions do. It's not how well you perform on your good days, it's how well you perform on your bad days. And this wasn't a great weekend for Antonelli. He was on the back foot. Mercedes weren't that strong, yet he's still come away, extending his championship lead by 5 points. Like, that's what champions do. You got to do polls on race ratings out of 5 in your community post, man. Great way to see other views from the viewers as well. Yeah, no, I'll do that. I will. Ferrari can't put everything behind Lewis when he has all these senior citizen moments. That guy just needs to wake up. I don't think he's having senior citizen moments. I think that's an unfair comment, to be honest with you. I do think that, yes, some of the penalties have been justified. Look, he's sped in the pit lane today. If he sped in the pit lane, it's a slam dunk penalty. That's on him. Impeding yesterday, slam dunk penalty. Partially on him, partially on the team. And also, today, the strategy was completely ballsed up. I don't think he should ever have been, like, not I'm saying in the VSC, obviously they capitalised on it and it was at the right time, but before the VSC came out, his race just looked like it. I was just thinking, what are you doing? Like, what have Ferrari done here? And then, especially in the second stint, because he was clearly saving. So you heard on the radio, he was told he was saving his tyres in the middle stint, right, on the hards. Then he got told to push on his tyres, and they pitted him 2 laps later. That's not a sufficient amount of time to use up those hard compound tyres and push. Like, that's just, to be fair, that's just a complete waste of a set of tyres and a stint. And they brought him in early to do the undercut on the hard, and then hope to hold on to track position, which maybe they could have done, but Max was catching. He definitely was catching, and I think he would have overtaken Lewis on those softs. So it just seemed like, I don't know what they were thinking, to be honest, with that. And really, the VSC kind of bowed them out, I think, of their strategy blunder today. And, of course, Lewis picking up a 5-second time because he was racing to get Kimi Antonelli at the line, which he had to give back at position anyway. Hindsight, should he have kept on it, hold of it, maybe, and made up that time. But, yeah, it's... I felt like another messy race, to be fair, from him and Ferrari. Thanks, Justin. Much appreciated, buddy. Yeah, I always try my best to be kind of like base my opinions and that around logic, or back them up with logic of obviously how I'm thinking. Maybe the Kardashian curses it in Lewis finally. Yeah. Lewis should have put it on Charles these last 3 races, and he didn't, so it's fair game to Charles. Yeah, no, look, Charles has done what he's just needed to do. That's basically it. But if you're Lewis Hamilton, you're frustrated because you're sitting there going, I am bloody quick at the moment, and how have I finished the last 3 races behind my teammate? But there we go. Piastri may never be a champ because he's unlucky and crushed under the pressure. I don't even think he was crushed under the pressure today. No, like he would have been P1 Piastri today. He would have held on to that lead. Whether he would have held on to it from his teammate, I don't know. But he would have held on to that lead, at least at the pit stops, if Carlos Sainz didn't basically crash into him. Bang wheels of him and force him off the track, which Sainz got a 5-second time penalty for. And his time, by the way, I don't think he'll be at Williams for much longer, to be honest with you. I think he'll be actively looking for a way out. But yeah, he was battling one of the Astons. I think it was Stroll. And then he just kind of like was like, do, and yeah, ended up crashing, banging wheels into the side of Piastri. And without that, he would have been ahead of Nando because it was very close on the pit exit. And then, of course, the gearbox issue, that topped it off, didn't it, for him? Do I think the FIA should use softer compounds in the next races after how long the soft tyres lasted here? I do think that it's not necessarily that it's the construction of the tyre. Pirelli have probably made them a bit too hard. Yeah, it's a Pirelli issue. Piastri getting robbed of 2 wins this year is crazy considering these cars aren't his cup of tea. That is true. Yeah, I mean, would he have held on to the lead? Potentially. It would have been interesting to see him battle it out, right? Sainz still ahead of Piastri in the end. Yeah. Ferrari have a reliable car and have good and decent pace, but strategy-wise, they need to improve their strategy. Honestly, if they're seriously needing to win a championship titles, there's definitely more that they need to do there. Yeah, they need to brush up on their strategy because it is. Yeah, I do feel like. Yeah, I just don't know. I mean, I need to go back and look at it. But it does. I just remember thinking at the time, it just seemed very odd. Mercedes now needs to prioritise Kimi. It's clear he's far and away their best chance at a championship. Well, they were doing that anyway, but yes, definitely. He is 59 points ahead of his teammate at the moment. 59 points, and Hamilton is 50 points behind. Imagine what that gap could be if those last 3 races just went differently for Lewis Hamilton. Of course, all with some buts and stuff, you know. But Antonelli today and Mercedes today, they did what they needed to do. They converted what wasn't a great weekend for them still into a podium finish. When Ferrari, let's be real here, I still think Ferrari were the fastest car this weekend. If they sent out the cars at the same time as Norris and Piastri, McLaren did in qualifying, I think Ferrari were comfortably going to get ahead of them. Could have locked out the front row, but they didn't. That's another strategy error from Ferrari. Don't know why they sent them out first in qualifying. And then today, well, Charles ended up on the wrong side of the track, lost positions, and then their strategy didn't help them either. It seemed to be quite difficult to overtake here today, as we saw from Norris struggling to get past Piastri, Hamilton struggling to get past Verstappen, and then Kimi later on. So their strategy, yeah, I don't think it. I just think they messed up. And once again, they've been fastest or second fastest car in the last 3 race weekends. And yes, they came away with a win in Silverstone. They came away with second place in Spa. But they haven't been able to capitalise both of their cars into finishing on the podiums when they probably should have done. They should have, at minimum, both cars been on the podiums in the last 3 races. And they haven't. Today, they finished 4th and 5th. Does Lewis still have a chance of winning this title? I mean, he does still have a chance. It's a big if, though. A big if. It's never Lewis's fault. No, I'm not saying it's never Lewis's fault. Look, if he sped in the pit lane, that's his fault. He impeded Piastri yesterday. That's his fault. Probably combined with the team as well. The false start at Silverstone, that was his fault. The Spa incident, I still don't think that's his fault, and I still think that's a racing incident, and I don't think that should have been a penalty at all. And yeah, so he's received 4 penalties in the last 3 races, and 3 of them I do think he's at fault for. You can still say he's unlucky. Wouldn't hold my breath. Lewis is fighting Charles and Kimi, and rightfully so. Yeah. What do I think Lewis making these mistakes costing him crucial points? What do I think? I think, look, they can just happen. We've seen people get like false starts. We've seen the impeding. But they're costly mistakes, aren't they? They're very costly mistakes. And I don't know. Yeah, is it age? Maybe. Is it oversight from the team and the pressure of being in a championship battle again? Potentially. But it's... yeah, it's definitely... one thing for sure is that they've definitely cost him. But it is... Yeah, I agree. It is for Kimi to go on an historic clinching title run. Ferrari needs to start prioritising Hamilton in the second half of the season to try and see to catch up to Antonelli. Well, I think the only way that's going to happen is if Hamilton wins like 2 races in a row. You come back from... The only way that's... Yeah, the only way that is going to happen is if you come back from the summer break and you see Hamilton win 2-3 races in a row. Or go on the right... Yeah, that's the only way. And he closes up the gap sufficiently to Antonelli. Other than that, they're still going to sit there and go, Leclerc's still mathematically in it. And we're not going to prioritise one driver over another. But I feel like... I just feel like even if I'm Ferrari, right? If I'm Ferrari and I'm the head of Ferrari, what is bigger for you as a team? And also, you as a team principal and an owner of Ferrari, or whatever, what is bigger for you? Like, what's your main goal? Is it just to keep your drivers happy and keep the status quo? Or is it to win a bloody damn title? Whether it be the Constructors, whether it be the Drivers' Championship. Especially considering you haven't won one for 2 decades. I think it is the latter. It is winning a bloody damn title. And whoever that driver is, who has an opportunity to do it, I think you have to kind of prefer them. Look, Lewis is... It's not like Charles and Lewis are 10 points separating them. There's quite a substantial amount of points separating them. Yes, that could be closed down upon. But, like, what do you want to do? What do you want to do? What was you employed to do, Fred Vasseur? To win a title. Simple as every team principal does. And it's the same as we were criticising McLaren for doing in 2024 as well. I do generally believe, if you go back to 2024, I think Lando could have won that title. McLaren had the pace, Lando had the pace, and they failed to provide... They failed to prioritise Lando Norris in that championship. But because Piastri was still mathematically in the championship, they were like, no, we're not going to do that. And that's probably because of pressure from Mark Webber and Lando maybe not being strong enough to say, look, I think we can go for this. And then that led into the whole Papaya Rules debacle that we saw last year as well. So you do need some ruthlessness in the sport. I think you do. Just as Mercedes will be now, probably with Kimi Antonelli. They'll, to a certain degree, yes, still give George Russell an opportunity, but I think they'll be like, well, yeah, Kimi is now, we're at the halfway point of the season, we're over the halfway point of the season, and Kimi is leading, rightfully so. And it's up to you, George, to force, it's up to you to force the issue. If you can get ahead of Antonelli and beat him consistently, then yeah, okay, that kind of the decision-making, the pit stops and stuff will be like more toward, the pendulum will swing a bit more. And it's the same attitude for Charles Leclerc as well, I think. Maybe that has been the case, but... yeah. My prediction for Red Bull after the summer break? I don't know. I mean, a lot of it comes down to power still, I think, and the utilisation of the battery and so forth. For Red Bull, this weekend, Max did... I mean, their car, how Max has just converted a P2, I don't know. Because that's a tremendous drive from him, because that car was all over the place. I don't know. There's a lot of work to do for Red Bull. Never say never with them. I would have more faith in McLaren closing the gap and being stronger second half of the season than I would probably Red Bull, just with all the personnel changes that they've had over the last year as well. But when you've got Max in the car, there's like, if you give Max a car he can be even slightly confident in, then he's a driver who can get some very, very good results. Doesn't matter a lot about last year, the performances between Lewis and Charles, because it's a completely different regulation set. And you want to look at the here and now, don't you? They've invested so much in Charles and he's been loyal as a dog when the more sane person would have left MS. Yeah. I mean, that's obviously a difference, isn't it there? Difference in approach, of course. Even if the Ferrari is the fastest car after the break, they will still lose the championship. I think so. I think they're going down. I think they really are going down kind of like the McLaren route. And I would be very intrigued to see if, say, next year, Charles and Lewis are fighting for the championship, whether we'd see something akin to Papaya Rules, you know? Max's overtake was good, but he relies on other drivers to not cause the accident. It's dangerous. I need to see it back. I haven't seen that. I need to have a look at that. Can we have a look at it? See if I can find it. Max and Lewis overtake. So, Lewis Hamilton, by the way, this is the penalty. 5 second time. Car exceeded the pit lane speed limit, which was set at 80 kilometers an hour by 0.1. Right, okay. That's alarm bells already. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not just saying it because it's Lewis. But 0.1. Is that a similar issue as to what we had in Hungary? If it was 0.2, 0.3, I would sit there and go... I would sit there and go, okay, that's fair. Yep, he's clear. That's a much larger margin. Yeah, he's probably released the pit lane speed limiter a bit too early. I've got a suspicion. I need to see him exit in the pit lane. I've got a suspicion he's carried a shorter distance again. For it to be 0.1, I don't know. It may be. It may very well be. It just seems sus after what we've seen this season already. I wonder if he's carried a shorter distance. He's crossed a line somewhere. And that could be rescinded, and he could be promoted back up into 4th. We'll have a look. We'll have a look. I need to see it back. I mean, the data, I mean, you can have a look at the data. And the data will be able to show whether or not he can... you could be able to go back and... I need to see... Obviously, our data isn't always 100%. Let's see if I can go back and see if he actually... Let's have a look. When he made that pit stop, you can probably see the speedometer. When was that VSC? Hamilton there, 5 laps. I mean, to be fair, I'm not going to be able to see probably. But like when you saw Gasly's, Gasly was well under, wasn't he? It looked like he removed the pit limiter right before the line. I mean, if he did, he did. Ferrari should focus on Constructors' title this year and Drivers' title next year, just like McLaren. Maybe. There might be a possibility for them to do that. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe he has. I said, look, if it's speeding in the pit lane, it is normally a slam dunk. And I do presume he probably, I said at the time, he's probably released the pit speed limiter too early. But if he didn't, then that's probably a Monaco issue where he's covered, that they measure it out like a distance. They don't just go, oh, we'll actually monitor it via actual speeds, which it should be. They measure it via like an average, and if you've covered a shorter distance, then that screws off the average speed, as what Gasly did basically. And they were like, well, because it's a new line this year, it was because of the 11th team of Cadillac. Might be a similar thing here again as well. They actually measured the whole distance like 70 centimeters shorter, or 30 something centimeters shorter. Do I think Charles has a future at Ferrari? Definitely. He's just signed a very, very long contract with them, extension. This is why I believe Lewis will never win in red. Charles and him are far too evenly matched. I'd love to see him in Aston with Newey and Stroll, and then they can get the car in order. Since Antonelli is leading the championship, Russell not in the pace currently to Antonelli, he will need to try to prioritise valuable points for Mercedes to the team championship. I don't know. I think they'll still give him an opportunity. But it depends. It depends if Russell falls even further back and Hamilton closes the gap to Antonelli. If there is a clear fight between Antonelli and Hamilton for the championship and Russell falls back of it, or just falls back of the championship in general, then yes, he'll have to play a supportive role. Watching Max's overtake on Lewis, he's literally doing a crash or move overtake. See, people don't realise about the distance covered issue. It's not on a simple on and off button like in sim racing. Yeah, it is bizarre. I wonder if they'll review it on the SkyPad. They're looking at some of Lewis Hamilton's stuff now anyway. What do I think about the Cadillac performance? Just a very new performance, isn't it? I mean, it's what you expect kind of a new team. Charles' yellow flag infringement got removed. So he's no longer investigation. The fact Lewis even gave up the place after means he didn't gain anything, but FIA don't care. Computer says you too fast in penalty. Well, it's two separate. That's two separate incidents, though. Speeding in the pit lane isn't him gaining an advantage by being ahead not being ahead at the safety car line, which is what Kimi Antonelli was. Kimi Antonelli was slightly ahead. So he was right to give that position back because that was him holding on to a position that he didn't gain. but he could have probably held on to it and maybe gained an advantage from it. I don't know. That built up the difference. 5-second time penalty for speeding by only 0.1 kilometers an hour is crazy. Yeah, but you have to draw a line somewhere, don't you? My argument back against that is that where does it end? Just analysing Lewis and Max. What rating would I give the race? It's difficult to say, to be honest with you. I'd probably give it 7. I think I did enjoy it. So 6 or yeah, probably a 7, because I think there was some overtakes, there was intriguing strategy. Wasn't any higher than that, to be honest with you. Rules are rules, exactly. You have to draw a line somewhere, otherwise you then just. You'd say, oh, there's a 10% allowance. Well, as soon as someone goes over that 10% allowance by 0.1, then you're going to go, oh, well, it was only 0.1 over the 10% allowance, you know. All right, hang on. They're looking at Lewis Hamilton's pit speed now. Hang on. I want to see this. Ant Davison says, I've looked at this so many times, I can't see how he's got a penalty. Ant Davison on the Skypad has said he slows down sufficiently before the pit speed line, like on the entry. Someone's going to analyse the data. I bet Ferrari won't appeal it, though. We need to see the exit. We'll hear whether he presses it off or not. Hang on. I don't see how he's got that, yeah, either. I've just listened to it. I don't know. We'll see, but I think that's a measurement issue. I'd be surprised if that's wrong. Do I agree Pablo Montoya is a clown? No, I don't think so. I think recently he's just trying to pick the different opinion for the sake of it. Honestly, this whole distance thing is trash. They should just see the driver's speed as they cross the spit entry. You know what I mean? They've got access to live data, right? They can clearly see if someone's gone above the speed limit or not. Mila. Okay, right. Time for me to end the stream, guys. As you can hear in the background. Have a lovely rest of your day. We'll see you later. Driver ratings video coming out this evening.